This video is of the Cyber Threat Intelligence module inside of the SOC Level 1 pathway of TryHackMe. And in this video, we're going to go through the intro to cyber threat intel, the threat intelligence tools, the Yara language, Open CTI, and MISP. This video has been sponsored by SurfShark, which is an all-in-one security solution that provides antivirus and VPN software for unlimited endpoints, unlimited devices, which means you can basically protect every single endpoint and device that you have with their antivirus and VPN software for 7 cents a day, which ends up to being $2.20 a month. And the link to that rate is in the description below. Now, without further ado, let us jump into the Cyber Threat Intelligence module.
All right, hello and welcome back to yet another episode of Hank Hacks Hackers. This is your boy Hank Hackerson. We are going to be looking at the cyber threat cyber threat intelligence. That's what we're going to be looking at today. This is part of the SOC Analyst or the SOC Level 1 pathway in TryHackMe. Cyber threat intelligence is the particular set of modules that we're going to be working on. And so there's intro to cyber threat intelligence and then threat intelligence tools, etc., etc., etc. So we're going to be going down this path today. This is a free room with TryHackMe, as have been a lot of the other rooms that we've been covering over the last couple of days. And so, get yourself a membership, and the paid membership is only $12 to start, and you can even get a $5 credit to that if you use the link in the description below. So it's very, very affordable, and they have a lot of great tools that you can use. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on the notification bell, share all that stuff so that you can get notified the next time that we drop something. And of course, spread the wealth so that we can get as many people in our little hacker community as we possibly can. So let's get into it. The intro to cyber threat intelligence. So we're going to be looking at CTI, which is cyber threat intelligence, and the various frameworks used to share intelligence as security analysts. This is very important for investigating and reporting against adversary attacks with organizational stakeholders and external communities. So there's a lot of communities and organizations that want to be on the attack side, and they actually have malicious intent. So it's really important that on the ethical hacker side and the security defense side, we also combine forces. And so this is one of those things, right? So we're going to be talking about the basics of CTI and various classifications, the life cycle to deploy and use intelligence, and frameworks and standards used in distributing intelligence. And so these are some of the things that we're going to talk about in the rest of this path, as you already saw, which is the intelligence tools, Yara, Open CTI, MISP, and a bunch of other good things. So let's jump into cyber threat intelligence. It can be defined as evidence-based knowledge about adversaries, including their indicators, tactics, motivations, and actionable advice against them. These can be utilized to protect critical assets and inform security teams and management business decisions. It would be typical to use the terms data, information, and intelligence interchangeably because pretty much they mean the same thing. So let's distinguish between them to understand better how CTI comes into play. So how CTI refers to these things. So data is discrete indicators associated with an adversary, such as their IP address, URL, or hashes. Information is a combination of multiple data points that answer questions like how many times have employees accessed TryHackMe within the month. And intelligence is the correlation of data and information to extract patterns of actions based on contextual analysis. Okay, so they kind of feed into each other. So intelligence combines information and data. Information is mostly about data, and data is the most raw form of data. The primary goal of CTI is to understand the relationship between the operational environment and the adversary and how to defend your environment against any attacks. And you would do this by developing your own context and answering the following questions. So who's attacking you? what are their motivations, what are their capabilities, and what artifacts and indicators of compromise should you look out for, IOCs, indicators of compromise. So with these questions, threat intelligence will be gathered from different sources. So there would be internal sources, community sources, and external sources. So corporate security events such as vulnerability assessments and incident response reports, cyber awareness training, and of course syslogs and events and stuff like that, that would all be internal. The community would be, open web forums, the dark web communities, Reddit, Google, anything that's OSINT, which is open source intelligence. And then you have external, which is threat intelligence feeds that you could pay for and you could find in a lot of open source environments, marketplaces, public sources including government data, publications, social media. We just did a video on MITRE and all of the different tools that they have available, and that's all free, and MITRE is amazing. So definitely, that would be a part of this. Then you have the classifications of threat intelligence. So there's strategic intel, which is high-level intel that looks into the organization's threat landscape and maps out risk areas based on trends, emerging patterns and threats, and anything that may impact the decisions. There's technical intel, and this looks into the evidence and artifacts of attack used by an adversary. Response teams use this intelligence to create a baseline attack surface to analyze and develop defense mechanisms. And then you have tactical intel, which is, it looks at their techniques, tactics, and procedures, and it can strengthen security controls and address vulnerabilities through real-time investigations. And then you have operational intel. So it looks into the adversary's motives and intent to perform an attack. Teams may use this intel to understand the critical assets available in the organization, like people, processes, and technologies that could be targets. So CTI stands for, what is it? Something threat intelligence, right? Cyber threat intelligence. I drew a blank on the first word. I'm like, what does C stand for? Cyber threat intelligence. IP addresses, hashes, and other threat artifacts would be found under which classification? And that would be under, I would say technical, right? So technical could be, I want to say technical intel, but I just want to double check and make sure. Yeah, I'm going to say technical intel. Technical intel. That is correct. Okay, very good. Moving on. The CTI lifecycle. So, intel is obtained from data churning process that transforms raw data into contextualized and action-oriented insights geared towards triaging security incidents. The information process follows a 6-phase cycle. And so we see it here in this little picture where it has planning and direction, collection, processing, analysis, dissemination, and feedback. So what does that mean? So direction, every Intel program requires to have objectives and goals defined, involving identifying the following parameters. So information assets and business processes that require defending, potential impact to be experienced on losing the assets or through process interruptions. So what's the damage that could be caused, basically? The sources of the data and intel to be used for protection, and tools and resources that are required to defend those things. And this phase also allows security analysts to pose questions related to investigating incidents. Then you have the collection. So once you've identified your objectives, now you got to start gathering this information, right? So we'll gather the required data to address them. Then they'll do this by using commercial, private, and open source resources. Due to the volume of data analysts usually face, it is recommended to automate this phase to provide time for triaging incidents. So there's a lot of stuff that you could subscribe to, and a lot of open source stuff, even security information and event managers, so SIM software, comes with a lot of this stuff already ingrained in it. So Splunk, for example, does collection and it does consolidation of data. So it combines all the data logs and all these things, and then it compares it against vulnerability databases. So it can do a lot of these things for you, so that you just only focus on the red flags that pop up and actually process that stuff, right? So processing, raw logs, vulnerability information, malware, and network traffic usually come in different formats and they may be disconnected when used to investigate an incident. This phase ensures that the data is extracted, sorted, organized, and correlated with the appropriate tags and presented visually in a usable and understandable format to the analyst. So SIM, as we just talked about it, are valuable tools for achieving this and allowing quick parsing of data. So SIM, security information and event managers, they do the collection and processing for you. And then a lot of times they even do analysis so that it kind of guesses what may be wrong, and that's how it flags things for you, right? So once the information aggregation is complete, security analysts must derive insights. Decisions to be made may involve investigating potential threat through uncovering indicators and attack patterns, defining an action plan to avert an attack and defend the infrastructure, and strengthening security controls or justifying investment for additional resources. Dissemination is the different organizational stakeholders will consume the intelligence in varying languages and formats. For example, C-suite members will require a concise report covering trends, financial implications, and strategic recommendations. At the same time, analysts will probably require a lot more technical feedback, right? About the indication of compromise, the tactics, techniques, and procedures, and all of that stuff. So C-suite people will require different type of report than an analyst would or an engineer would. And finally, you have feedback, which is as it says, the most crucial part. The analysts rely on the response provided by stakeholders to improve the process and implementation of security controls. Feedback should be regular interaction between teams to keep the lifecycle working. So this whole thing, as this image right here kind of implies, is a process. It's a continuous process. It's a feedback loop, as the name implies, right? So it's a CTI process, cyber threat intelligence process, feedback loop. So this is happening all the time, and it's being adjusted all the time, right? So at which phase of the CTI lifecycle is data converted into usable formats through sorting, organizing, correlation, and presentation? And I want to venture that this is processing, correct? It is processing. So processing. During which phase do security analysts get the chance to define the questions to investigate incidents? And that's at the very beginning. So direction. Very cool. Moving on. So CTI standards and framework. So we already talked about the MITRE attack framework. This is a really big one. There was an entire video that I did on this, and you can find that on my channel, and it's on the video for MITRE. So definitely look into that. Really, really good video, very usable information. This is just one screenshot of the attack framework, but there's just so much stuff that MITRE has that's amazing and free to use. So definitely recommend that you look into that. Then you have the Trusted Automated Exchange of Indicator Information, also referred to as TAXI, and they define protocols for securely exchanging threat intelligence to have real-time detection or near real-time detection, prevention and mitigation of threats. It supports collection, which is collected and hosted by a producer upon request, and then there's the channel, so it's pushed to users from a central server through a publish-subscribe model. Then you have STIX, which is the Structured Threat Information Expression, and it's a language developed for the specification, capture, characterization, and communication of standardized cyber threat information. So it's basically a language that does all of those things. And it defines the relationship between sets of info such as observables, indicators, adversary tactics, techniques, attack campaigns, and more. We also did an entire video on the cyber kill chain. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that. But this is just a screenshot of what that actually looks like. And so you have the recon, which is the research and scanning, all that stuff. Then based on the information that you find here, you weaponize the information that you got, and then you deliver it as a payload. Once you have the delivery done, you've now exploited the machine, and now you want to install some kind of rootkit or a malware or something. And from there, you have command and control. So you're sitting in your lap, in your computer room, and from a different city or a different country, you can command and control the exploited system. And then once you're there, you can now take action on what your goals and objectives are. And that's basically a very quick overview of the cyber threat model. We also did a video on the diamond model that covers the adversary, the victim, the infrastructure, and the capabilities. So the hacker is the adversary, the victim is who they're trying to target, there's the infrastructure that they need to work through, and the capabilities of the adversary, right? So all of these things are connected to each other in the shape of a diamond. And these things are very important as well. That's another video that you can go watch, and it's available on the channel. So what sharing models are supported by Taxi? And so let's go back to Taxi and see what we can find. It says, for securely exchanging threat intelligence to have near-time detection, prevention, and mitigation of threats, it provides two sharing models. So you have collection and channel. I'm going to say that it's both of those things, right? So we're going to say collection and channel. When an adversary has obtained access to a network and is extracting data, what phase of the kill chain are they on? So this is action on objectives. Action on objectives. Yeah. Okay, so let's do the practical analysis here. So we have a view site. So there's going to be an external site. Look at that. All right, so what's the goal here? We are supposed to answer these questions. And so, okay, so what is the source email address? Well, actually, so let's read this, right? Let's read this real quick. So as part of the dissemination phase of the life cycle, CTI is also distributed to organizations using published threat reports. These reports come from technology and security companies that research emerging and actively use threat vectors. So they are valuable for consolidating information presented to all suitable stakeholders. Some notable threat reports come from Mandiant, Recorded Future, and AT&T Cybersecurity. Well, look at that. I have AT&T for my internet, so look at these guys doing big things. Okay, cool. So all the things we have discussed come together when mapping out an adversary. Okay, so click on the site and just try to answer the questions. All right. So what was the source email address? So let's see. We're gonna try to see what information is available here, what's clickable. So victim, email recipient, user, victim, logged account. So these are the targets attributed to users, threat actor, email address. That's probably the source email. Oh, I see. I have to actually find that information first. Okay, fair enough. What can any of these open? They can't open. All right, so let's see. Email received from John Doe from this place. So this is it. I'm going to say that's the email. Very good. What was the name of the file that was downloaded? So file downloaded by John Doe, file name is this thing. So that's what they downloaded. I mean, that looks like a malware, bro. Why would you click on that, honestly? So, all right, after building the threat profile, what message do you receive? So now we got to get our flag. So the threat actor extraction IP address. So outbound network flow initiated to this. I'm going to say that's the extraction IP address. So let's check that. All right, that's cool. The threat actor's email address seems to be this thing. VIP villain at Bad Bank. That sounds like a villain email address, just like Hank Hackerson. And so what's the malware tool? It's this thing. This is our malware tool. And so now, who's the target? So user, victim, logged account. The account name seems to be administrator. So we're going to do this. And the victim email is, who's the victim email? Is that what it said? Yeah, victim email recipient. Oh, you know, I see. I only need their name. I don't need their actual email. I understand. This entire time I've been trying to find their freaking email address. John Doe is the victim. All right, so now I can CTI is our flag. And there's that. Okay, so that was our room on cyber threat intelligence. Definitely check it out if you have not already. It's a very, very awesome room, and it's one of the free rooms that's available with TryHackMe. And should you choose to get yourself a membership, you can always use the link in the description to get yourself a nice little discount. And yeah, just follow along as we go through this whole thing. So this is your boy Hank Hackerson with Hank Hacks Hackers. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, and comment, and turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff, just so you can get notified the next time that we drop something. And yeah, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. I will see you in the next video. All right, welcome back. This is your boy Hank Hackerson. This is Hank Hacks Hackers. And today we're going down the SOC Level 1 pathway, or we're continuing down this pathway. We already did Intro to Cyber Threat Intelligence, and we've already covered all of the cyber defense frameworks. So today we're going to be talking about the threat intelligence tools, which is this entire module right here. And this is actually one of the free rooms inside of TryHackMe. And you can get access to this with just a basic subscription. And if you wanted to get, the more advanced rooms or the other stuff, and for each room, I'm just going to declare whether or not it's one of the free rooms or you would require a paid subscription. But this is one of the free ones, and you're more than welcome to go ahead and get yourself the subscription and go through it as well. On top of this video, it kind of is a better learning experience if you go through it as well as watching the videos themselves. And then there's, of course, the paid subscriptions that it's $12 to get one, and if you use the link in the description below, you'll get an extra $5 credit towards it, so it ends up being $7 to get access to TryHackMe and their entire suite of paid rooms and pathways, which is unbelievable. If you've seen any of the advanced rooms that we've done, you can kind of testify to that as well. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on that notification bell so that you get notified the next time a video comes out. And we're just going to jump straight into it. So let's talk about threat intelligence. The outline of the room basically just says that these are the things that we're going to be learning, right? So it's not really that big of a deal. I don't need to read through this for you, but because especially since we're actually going to be going through all of these things in each of the individual tasks. So we're just going to jump right into it with threat intelligence. And it's the analysis of data and information using tools and techniques to generate meaningful patterns on how to mitigate against potential risks associated with existing or emerging threats targeting organizations, industry sectors, governments, etc. This is a very long-winded answer, but it's basically to use information and data and then all of the tools that we're going to go through today to try to figure out who's attacking you and how they're attacking you, and these are the main questions that we're answering, right? So who's attacking, what's their motivation, what are they capable of doing, what are their actual capabilities, and what artifacts and indicators of compromise should you be on the lookout for. This is basically what we're trying to answer when we use any threat intelligence cycle or tool or anything like that. These are some of the classifications for threat intel. So you have strategic intel, which is a high-level intel. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit more. It's a high-level intelligence that looks into the organization's threat landscape and maps out the risk areas based on trends, patterns, emerging threats, and everything that may impact the business decisions or operations. Then there is technical intelligence, which looks into the evidence and artifacts of the attack used by an adversary. So this is kind of after the fact, or maybe if you have a good team during the attack. And incident response teams can use this intelligence to create a baseline attack surface to analyze and develop defense mechanisms. Then you have tactical intelligence, which looks at the actual tactics of the attacker and the adversary. Their tactics, techniques, and procedures, TTPs. We've talked about this a lot, and I'm guessing this is going to keep coming up. This intelligence can strengthen security controls and address vulnerabilities through real-time investigations, meaning it's happening live. And it should be happening before the attack happens, but at the very least it should be happening during the attack so that you can understand what's going on. And of course, when you review what happened after the fact and you go through your debriefing, all of that stuff would be coming to light. And then you have operational intelligence, which looks into the adversary's specific motives and intent to perform the attack. So what are they trying to do? Why are they trying to extract data? Are they trying to destroy systems and bring the systems down? There's a lot of things that they could be doing, and that's what falls under operational intelligence. So we read through that, and we can move on to our first tool, which is urlscan.io. And urlscan.io is a free service developed to assist in scanning and analyzing websites. It is used to automate the process of browsing and crawling through websites to record activities and interactions. When a URL is submitted, the information recorded includes the domains, the IP addresses, and resources requested from the domains, a snapshot of the web page, technologies utilized, and a bunch of other stuff. And this site provides two views, so URL scan. And the first is showing the most recent scans performed, and the second one showing the current live scans. So this is not for search engine optimization or anything. This is specifically for what's being done against your domain as far as attacks or scans or things like that. And so you have your scan results, which is the summary of the scan, general information about the URL ranging from the identified IP addresses, domain registration details, page history, and screenshot of the site. HTTP provides information about the HTTP connections made by the scanner to the site, which details about the data fetched and the file types received. Any type of redirects that happened, so information on any identified HTTP and client-side redirects on the site. And this actually happened in one of the videos that we did recently, where we were building a network scanner, or I think it was either a subdomain scanner or a directory scanner. It was one of the ones that we did for Python for pen testing. And there were a lot of redirects on the websites that we were scanning, and so that probably would show up here as well. Then you have the links, so any and all identified links outgoing from the site's homepage, the behavior of the variables and cookies found on the site. This may be useful in identifying the frameworks used in developing the site. And then you have, of course, your indicators. So all IPs, domains, and hashes associated with the site. These indicators do not imply malicious activity. They're just indicators of what's associated with the site. And then you have this other screen right here, and I will just do like a deep dive on the actual situation so that you can kind of see what these different things are, because this is kind of quickly going through these different pages. So due to the dynamic nature of internet activities, data search can produce different results on different days as new information gets updated. So you have been tasked to perform a scan on TryHackMe's domain, and the results obtained are displayed in the image below. Use the details on the image to answer the questions. So we're going to be using this image specifically to answer the questions that happen below. And so you have the obviously the domain itself, the submitted URL, the effective URL, submission on whichever the date it was, and then you have the summary that is going on here, and then the live information that's going on here, domain and IP information, and then we have the page URL history, the detected technologies, so on and so forth. So it's a fairly kind of an overview, helicopter view type of thing of the website. So let's see. It says, what was TryHackMe's Cisco umbrella rank based on the screenshot? So let's see if we can find that. All right, it is right here. It's right in the summary description, which is the Cisco umbrella rank of the primary domain is 345612. So let's go and use that. 345612. Cool. How many domains did urlscan.io identify on the screenshot? So how many domains did they identify? And it's also in the summary, and it says there were 17 IPs in 4 countries across 13 domains. So let's use that, see if that works. Cool. What was the main domain registrar listed on the screenshot? And it is under live information. And so the domain registrar is Namecheap dot, or not dot, but it's Namecheap Inc. Very good. And so what was the main IP address identified for TryHackMe on the screenshot? So this is the main IP address I can't copy paste because it's an actual screenshot. So what I'm gonna do is now I'm gonna actually open up urlscan.io and I'm gonna go to tryhackme.com. All right, and here is the main IP address, which is also in the top section right here, and we can just copy that, go down here, and now we can paste it. And that's the main IP address. So pretty useful. And since, I mean, we already have this loaded, we can look at the other tabs as well. You have the HTTPs that have been done, the redirects that have been done, the links that are associated with it, right? And there's a good amount of information that is available. And this is for free, by the way. I didn't have to register for anything. I didn't have to do anything. This is a public scan that we did of tryhackme.com. So good stuff. Okay, so the next one is abuse.ch. And this seems to be a little bit of a long one. So abuse.ch is a research project hosted by the Institute for Cybersecurity and Engineering at the Bern University of Applied Sciences in Switzerland. It was developed to identify and track malware and botnets through several operational platforms developed under the project. These platforms are Malware Bazaar, Fiodo Tracker, SSL Blacklist, URL House, and ThreatFox. So, I mean, so Malware Bazaar is pretty obvious. It's just in the name. Fiodo Tracker is a resource used to track botnet command and control infrastructure linked with Emotet, Dridex, and TrickBot. That's interesting. SSL Blacklist, a resource for collecting and providing a block list for malicious SSL certificates. URL House, a resource for sharing malware distribution sites. And ThreatFox for sharing indicators of compromise, so IOCs. So very, very useful. This sounds like a very useful tool, honestly. So Malware Bazaar, as the name suggests, it's for anything about malware. So you have the malware samples upload. We can upload their malware samples. So as security analysts, we can upload malware samples for analysis and build the intelligence database. This can be done through the browser or an API. And there's malware hunting, so hunting for samples through setting up alerts to match various elements such as tag signatures, Yara rules, ClamAV signatures, and vendor detection, which is very, very useful. Then you have Fiodo Tracker, which is targeting intelligence on botnet and command and control servers associated with Dridex, Emotes, aka Hiodo, TrickBot, CACBot, Bazaar Loader, probably a few other ones as well. And it's achieved by providing a database of the CNC servers that security analysts can search through and investigate any suspicious IP addresses. Very cool. Then we have the SSL Blacklist. So it's developed to detect and identify malicious SSL connections. From these connections, certificates used by botnet C2 servers would be identified and updated on a deny list that is provided for use. The deny list is also used to identify JA3 fingerprints that would help detect and block malware botnet communications on the TCP layer. So it seems like a technical response, but it's actually very, very useful. So SSL certificates that have been previously used to do anything shady would be on here. There's also fingerprints from JA3 that would detect and block malware communication. So this is, I mean, it's technical, but it's really useful. So just know that, right? And we're probably gonna kind of do a use case of how to run through that. Then you have URL House. As the name points out, it's focused on sharing malicious URLs used for malware distribution. As an analyst, you can search through the database, domains, URLs, hashes, and file types that are suspected to be malicious and validate your investigation. So this is very useful as well. It provides feeds associated with countries, AS numbers, top-level domains, and anything that an analyst can generate based on specific search needs. So very useful. You have ThreatFox. With ThreatFox, security analysts can search for, share, and export indicators of compromise associated with malware. IOCs can be exported in various formats such as MISP events, suricata IDS rule sets, domain host files, DNS response policies on JSON files, and CSV files. So very useful as well. So the IOC 212 yada 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 is identified under which malware alias on the name on ThreatFox. So we're going to take this. We're going to copy this thing. Why can't I copy it? There you go, copy. And then we're going to go to, let me zoom out here. We're going to go to ThreatFox. Where's ThreatFox? URL house ThreatFox, very good. We're going to open up ThreatFox and we're going to go to the database and we're going to search for the malware. Got you. Okay, so the way that we had to search was to do this first. So you have to put IOC colon and then the actual IOC number, and then it will give us the specific indicator of compromise. And so this piece right here is the IP address, and then the 5555 is the port that it was attached to. So what are we looking for here? We are looking for the malware alias, I think, is what it said. Yeah, so Katana is the answer. Very good. Which malware is associated with the JA3 fingerprint? This is the fingerprint on SSL blacklist. So now we're going to go here to SSL blacklist, and we're going to do a little bit of a search. There we go, JA3 fingerprint. Got that, and boom, right here. It came up right away. Okay, very good. And so the malware name is this thing right here. So Drydex is the malware name. From the statistics page on URL House, what malware hosting network has the ASN number AS14061? So we're gonna now go to URL House, which is right here. And we're going to search in the database. Okay, so the issue was that when I went over here, for whatever reason, when I searched for, and I think maybe I got the syntax wrong or something, when I was searched for the actual ASN number, it wouldn't bring any kind of result for me. And then I just did a Google search for the same exact context of the question, and we got it right here where it says, according to URL House, the malware hosting network with the ASN number 14061 is DigitalOcean -ASN. So let's see if that actually ends up working. Okay, there you go, that did work. So there is that. It's kind of weird that it didn't show up when I was just doing the regular search. Okay, so which country is the botnet IP address, this thing, associated with in Fiodo Tracker? So that's our last question, and we're going to go to Fiodo Tracker. And now we're looking for botnet CNCs. We're going to search here. There we go. Does it give us the country? It's GE, so I think it's Germany. Oh, my bad. It's not Germany. It is Georgia. Whoops. Georgia is the country name. Got it. Okay. Fair enough. And there we go. We got all of our answers for the section with abuse CH, which was pretty helpful, honestly. I think all of these are going to end up being super helpful. So let's go. We got now looking at Fish Tool, and this is a phishing tool which thinks using the same machine. So let's see, it says before going into this task, click the Start Machine button to start the attached VM and open it in split view. You'll be using the same machine through tasks 7 and 8. So we don't need the attack box. We just need the machine with the split view right here. So I'm going to shrink this back down just to kind of read through the instructions real quick. So what we got here is email phishing, of course, is one of the Main precursors of any cyber attacks. If you go to the MITRE attack framework, you'll see that a lot of attack pathways have started with phishing emails. So unsuspecting users get duped into opening and accessing malicious files and links sent to them via email. And as a result, adversaries infect their victim system with malware, harvesting their credentials, personal data, yada, yada, yada. So you should, by now, you should know what phishing is. So for more information and content on phishing, check out these rooms. So there's 5 different rooms on phishing emails. I'm excited to check these out. I don't think I've done these rooms. I have not done these rooms, so that's exciting. That's going to be a good one. So Phish Tool seeks to elevate the perception of phishing as a severe form of attack and provide a responsive means of email security. Through email analysis, security analysts can uncover email indicators of compromise, prevent breaches, and provide forensic reports that could be used in phishing containment and training engagements. Phish Tool has 2 accessible versions, Community and Enterprise. We shall mainly focus on the community version and the core features in this task. Sign up for an account via this link to use the tool. So the core features include perform email analysis, heuristic intelligence, which has to do with the signatures inside the, where is it? Is baked into the tool to provide analysts with intelligence needed. Heuristic analysis, I know for a fact, has to do with the signatures that's inside of files and malware and stuff like that. So, and then you have classification and reporting. So perform analysis, it retrieves metadata from phishing emails and provides analysts with the relevant explanations and capabilities to follow the email's actions, attachments, and URL to triage the situation. Heuristic intelligence has to do with open source intelligence. It's baked into the tool to provide analysts with the intelligence needed to stay ahead of persistent attacks and understand what TTPs were used to evade security controls and allow the adversary to social engineer a target. And then you have the reporting and classification. Phishing email classifications are conducted to allow analysts to take action quickly. Additionally, reports can be generated to provide a forensic record that can be shared. Seems to be a very useful tool. There's additional features. So we have manage user reported phishing events, report phishing email findings back to users and keep them engaged in the process. Email stack integration from MS 365 and Google Workspace. We are presented with an upload file screen from the analysis tab on login. Here we submit our email for analysis in the stated file formats. Other tabs include history, list all the submissions made in the resolutions, in tray, an enterprise feature used to receive and process phish reports posted by team members through integrating Google Workspace and Microsoft 365. Okay. And then you have the analysis tab that analyzes the headers, the received lines, X headers. These are extension headers added by the recipient mailbox to provide additional information. You have security, so email security frameworks and policies such as sender policy framework, domain keys identified mail, and domain-based message authentication, reporting and conformance, attachments, obviously, and message URLs, associated external URLs found in the email. So we can further perform lookups and flag indicators as malicious from these options. On the right-hand side of the screen, we are presented with the plain text and source details of the email. Okay, so that's what that looks like. So on whatever thing you click on the right side of the screen, it'll show you the source HTML, plain text, so on and so forth. So it's very useful. And above the plain text section, we have a resolve check mark. Here we get to perform the resolution of our analysis by classifying the email, setting up flagged artifacts, and setting the classification codes. Once the email has been classified, the details will appear on the resolution tab on the analysis of the email. So let's see what this looks like. Oh, I see. Resolution is right there. And then resolve. Got it. And then it'll show you whether it's malicious or safe, and then so on and so forth. Okay. Okay. Now here's the scenario. You are a Security Operations Center analyst and have been tasked to analyze a suspicious email, which is this thing, and it's going to be in our site that we just launched. To solve the task, open the email using Thunderbird or the attached VM, analyze it, and answer the questions. Okay, let's see. Let's zoom out. And let's show this. This should be loaded by now. Okay, it seems like this is the actual email. I see. So what social media website is it pretending to be? It's pretending to be LinkedIn. What is the sender's email address? The sender's email address is this guy right here. So can we just copy this? Copy email address. Very good. Paste. And that's their email address. What is the recipient's email address? This is right here. Copy email address. And we're going to paste that here. What is the originating IP address? Defang the IP address. What's the hint? CyberChef has a defang recipe. Okay, so after studying certain documentation, here is what we have gotten to with this particular exercise. Okay, very good. I'm just going to minimize this just in case. We're also going to minimize this just in case. From what I understand, we can open it with a basic text editor. And then from here, we could do a search for IP address. Or what we're looking for is what? We're looking for the originating IP address. So it's probably going to be sender IP. And there we go. So we found something called sender IP. And this is the sender's IP address. So now I can go into CyberChef and I can now defang the IP address. And I think what essentially what defang means is that it makes it so that it's not clickable. So when we put that over here and then we go here and we look for defang, drop that over here, this is what it looks like. Basically, it just puts brackets around the dots. And if it was a URL, it would put brackets around the dot as well so that it's not clickable. That's what it means to defang something. So if we did that, this should be the answer. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so that was kind of the big learning curve for me, is that I just opened the email with a text editor instead of opening it inside Thunderbird or something. And then that makes it searchable so that you can actually search through all of the various clear text versions of the email, and then from there you find the actual IP address that you're looking for, and then from there you can go and handle the rest of it with CyberChef. So how many hops did the email go through to get to the recipient? And so to be able to calculate how many hops it went through, we need to find out how many times it was received. So it was received once, received twice, received 3 times, and received 4 times. Let's see if there's any more. Received SPF. I don't think that counts. It does not count. What else do we got? I think that's it. So I think 4 is the response, and it is supposed to be 1 digit. So let's see. It is. Okay, very good. So there you go. Okay, so Cisco Talos. Let's run into this real quick. So IT and cybersecurity companies collect massive amounts of information that could be used for threat analysis and intelligence. Being one of those companies, Cisco assembled a large team of security practitioners called Cisco Talos to provide actionable intelligence, visibility on indicators, and protection against emerging threats through data collected from their products. The solution is accessible as Talos Intelligence. And Cisco Talos encompasses 6 key teams. There's threat intelligence and interdiction. Quick correlation and tracking of threats provide a means to turn simple IOCs into context-rich intelligence. Then you have detection research. Vulnerability and malware analysis is performed to create rules and content for threat detection. Then you have engineering and development, provides the maintenance support for the inspection engines and keeps them up to date to identify and triage emerging threats. And then you have vulnerability research and discovery, working with service and software vendors to develop repeatable means of identifying and reporting security vulnerabilities. Communities maintains the image of the team and the open source solutions, and of course global outreach which disseminates intelligence to customers and the security community through publications. So you can find more about that on their white paper. And then you have the Talos dashboard. So this looks pretty awesome. And it is, I don't know what view this is right here. So let's see. It says, accessing the solution, we are first presented with a reputation lookup dashboard with a world map. This map shows an overview of email traffic with indicators of whether the emails are legitimate spam or malware across numerous countries. Click on any marker and we will see more information associated with the IP and host name address, volume on the day, and the type. At the top, we have several tabs that provide different types of intelligence sources. The primary tabs that the analyst would interact with are the vulnerability information and disclosed in zero-day vulnerability reports marked with CVE numbers and CVSS scores. So CVE is the common vulnerability and exposure, and then CVSS is the common vulnerability scoring system. Details of the vulnerabilities reported are provided when you select a specific report, including the timeline taken to get the report published. Microsoft vulnerability advisories are also provided with the applicable snort rules that can be used. So vulnerability reports, zero-day reports, and then there's Microsoft advisories that's available for each one of these as well. Then you have the Reputation Center, which is the next tab, and it provides searchable threat data related to the IPs and files using the SHA-256 hashes. Analysts would rely on these options to conduct their investigations. Additional email and spam data can be found under the email and spam data. And so here is the task. It says use the information gathered from inspecting email 1 from task 5 to answer the following questions using Cisco Talos Intelligence. Please note that the VM launched in task 5 would not have access to the internet. That's what the problem was. I'm like, why is Google not loading? This is so annoying. Okay, so what is the listed domain of the IP address from the previous task? So let's go back to this machine real quick and let's open up. I should not have closed Pluma, but it seems that I did close Pluma. So email 1, and we're gonna open it with Pluma. And we're gonna go here. So it says, what is the email associated with, or the domain of the IP address from the previous task? Okay, so first I'm gonna find the sender IP one more time. And here's the sender IP. And I don't think it's WHP servers or any of this stuff. So we're actually going to use Cisco Talos Intelligence to see if we can find it. So Talos Intelligence, right here. Let's see if we can search right away. The domain is scnet.net. So let's see if that's it. Okay, that is the answer. What is the customer name of the IP address? So the customer name, let's see what we can find here. Okay, so when I looked at the information that is on Talos, from what I researched, it's supposed to be available under the whois information of the IP address. But as you can see right here, there's no information here. It says we can't find any results, possibly IP address is unallocated or the whois server is not available, which is kind of useless. So I went to a different website. It's called whatismyipaddress.com, and I just searched for it, and this is, I believe, the customer. So the internet service provider, I believe, is the customer name, because this is a 3-word answer and it looks like it would be that. So we're going to click on this. What was the hint? Perform a whois lookup against the IP to identify the customer. So we could have just done that from the beginning, but I literally clicked around this website trying to find that information, and it doesn't have it on Talos. So we needed to find it either way, and that's basically what I had to do to find it. And now you have the answer, but I want you to learn how to find the answer and research is always the key. So just learn how to be a good researcher, and more often than not, you'll actually be able to find the information that you need. So that was it for our last tool, which is the Cisco Talos Intelligence. And now, based on the information that we have at task 5, it said that we're going to be using the same machine to go through tasks 7 and 8, which is these two right here, the scenarios that we have to answer as well. So I am going to keep this machine open, and we're going to try to answer the scenarios as well. So scenario 1. All right, so for scenario 1, we are essentially going to kind of repeat the process. We're a SOC analyst. Several suspicious emails have been forwarded to me from other coworkers. You must obtain the details from each email to triage the incident. And so we're going to be using email 2 from the attached machine. So I'm going to close this thing right here, and I'm going to try to repeat the process. So first I'm going to open it with Pluma, and then I'm going to open it with what is it, Firefox, what is it thing? It's not, I forget what the name of the thing is. What if I just double click it? It should open up inside. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So this is the email itself. And so let's see, it says what is the recipient's email address, which is this person right here. So we're going to copy this email, paste that, and that should be the recipient email. And so from Talos Intelligence, the attached file can also be identified by the detection alias that starts with an H. So is there an attachment here? Let's see if we can find that. And there you go. The attachment is at the bottom right here, and it is the proforma invoice. Okay, so inside the text file, couldn't really find anything that would be useful to this. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what the attachment information itself is. And since there is no internet to the machine that we're using right now, I have to figure it all out within the local machine that I have right here, and then try to gain that information within whatever we got here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to download the attachment and save it to the desktop. So we should have it right here, which is this thing right here. And then from here, I'm going to try to get the hash value of this so that we can go and do some research in the various resources that we have. So the first step is to get the hash value of the malware file. So in a perfect world, we would be able to actually go to Fish Tool, which is the tool that's attached to this task right here, but we don't have internet access. So what we got to do is we got to find the file hash without going to Fish Tool. And I'm just going to do it just to kind of give you the example here. So if I do a search for Fish Tool, we're going to get a problem loading the page because we don't have internet access on this particular machine. So the way that we're going to do it is we're going to do it through the command line, and we're going to get the hash value of the file. And specifically, we want the SHA-256 hash value of the file. So I'm going to get the command for that, and then from there, we're going to take that hash value, and then we can now copy paste that and then use the internet to find the rest of the information that we need to find. So the first step is to get the command to get the SHA-256 hash value of a file from the terminal. Okay, it's a very simple command actually. So we just need the name of the file, the specific name or path of the file. So I'm going to do an ls command first, just so I can see where we are. So I need to go to desktop first, do an ls, and that's the file that we're looking at right here, which is this thing. So this whole thing, I'm going to copy this just to make it easier. And then the command itself is SHA-256 sum, like that. And then you're going to put the path to the file, and it should just spit out the response for us. And there it is. So up until where the name starts, which is right here, that's the SHA-256 hash value. So we're going to copy that, and then we're going to use that for the rest of our research. And so the place that we want to go to is virus total, and maybe even a couple of other places, because we can go to Talos Intelligence or any other resources. They said that we could use, essentially, you could use your own resources or use the tools and knowledge discussed throughout this room. So we're going to use that hash value to go through a couple of different places. So first we're going to go to Talos, Cisco, and I'm just going to paste this at the very beginning and see what information comes up with this. We're going to confirm that I'm not a robot, and we got some good information here. And so what we want to do is we want to find the attachment about the Trojan, and they said it starts with an H, right? So I believe it's this thing right here. So if we actually go here, it's the second line item, and I could probably just do that, copy that, and then let's go here and try that out. And there it is. So simple enough. So in a perfect world, we would have internet access on our machine, and we would be able to use the actual attachment itself and go to a place like Fish Tool. So I'm going to go to this tab and just show you what Fish Tool will allow us to do, because we can register for it, and then we can attach the file to it, right? So you can actually go to, let's see, or maybe in the actual description right here, we would be able to see what it allows us to do, right? So there you go. Yeah. So under analysis, so in tray analysis right here, it actually allows you to attach a file so that it can analyze it for you. And that's under the analysis tab of Fish Tool. And when you do that, you can do the EML attachment, which is the full email attachment, right? So if we go back to our file explorer right here, it would be this thing. You would go and attach the actual EML file, which is the full email. And then within that, it would analyze everything inside that EML file, including the attachments, right? And any file attachments that are located in it, then you would be able to click on the attachment tab right here. And then from that, you would get more information about the attachment, so on and so forth. And part of that would probably include the SHA-256 hash value of the attachment. And so since we didn't have access to this, unfortunately, we had to kind of figure out a workaround to it. And the best way to do that is use the command line. And since the machine allows us to download the file to the machine, even though we don't have internet access, we could still go to the email file, which is this thing right here. And at the bottom, it shows us the attachment. So we could download that attachment to our local machine that we had, and then just run a very basic command like SHA-256 sum to get the SHA-256 hash value of that attachment. And then once we have this, we can just copy this to our clipboard and then use our own internet access and everything else that we got to do some research here. And that's basically what we did over here. So it gives you a lot of great information inside Talos Intelligence. Based on some of the documentation that I read, you could even use Virus Total, and you could use a lot of other tools to find that information. But from Talos Intelligence, from Cisco, we got all the information that we needed and then some. I mean, there's a lot of information about this attachment. So this hash value, wait, what did I do? This hash value is where all of the information was attached to, right? Because they could very easily change anything about the attachment and do a lot of different things with it. And so that's basically what we had to do to find the hash value and eventually the answer to our second question at the bottom right here, which is what is identified, the detection alias of that attachment, which is this thing, hidden ext/worm.gen. So there's scenario 1. Let's jump into scenario 2. And scenario 2 seems to be very similar. You're a SOC analyst, emails have been forwarded to you and they're suspicious. And so you're going to use the tools and knowledge throughout this room to help you analyze email 3 and everything else from that we got. So first and foremost, what's the name of the attachment on email 3? And then what malware family is associated with the attachment on email 3? So we're going to go here. I'm going to open up email 3. and it's going to open it up inside our file right here. And this is the name of the email. So it's sales receipt 5606 XLS. So sales receipt 5606 XLS. That's the name. So what malware family is associated with the attachment on email 3? So let's see what information we can get about that. So our first step, as usual, is to just open it up inside a regular text editor and look at the attachment that's attached to this thing. And so it says, what does it say here? Okay, so obviously inside the text editor, it's not going to tell us the malware family of this thing. So I'm just going to repeat the process that we did with the last one, which was we're going to open this thing. And is it this one? Yep, it is this one. And so I'm going to download this, and we're going to save it to our desktop. And we're going to get the hash value of the file and see if we can find anything in regards to the actual hash value of that file. So we're going to go in our desktop in a terminal, do ls, and we're going to copy the full path, including the quotes around the path. And we're just going to run the command, sha256 sum, and then you're going to paste it, see what we can get. And this is the path, or the sha256. And so now I'm going to go to Talos and go back to the home page, and I'm going to paste the new sha256 sum. And so let's see what we got over here. It says Talos way to score is not available. The file itself is supposed to be malicious, obviously. So malware family is what we're trying to look for here to see what kind of information it is. I think it's a Trojan based on what this says over here. So virus, it could be a virus, it could be a Trojan. Malicious confidence is definitely 100. Trojan downloader, Trojan. So it seems like Trojan might be the answer. If it's not Trojan, it's probably a virus, as it says. So let's try Trojan, because Trojan comes up very frequently. Whoops. Trojan is not it. Virus is not it. Okay, let's see what we can find with the rest of our information that we got. Okay, so this is what the virus total response was. And we have some family labels over here. So there are family labels of Valeria, DRIDEX, could be any of those. There's threat category, so maybe it's not a threat category because Trojan falls under that. So family label could be Valeria or DRIDEX. X97M is only 4 characters, so I don't think that's the response they're looking for. So let's see, DRIDEX. That is the answer. There you go. So what malware family is associated with the attachment on email 3? So we basically ran the same process, right? We downloaded the attachment. We got the 256 sum for the attachment using a very simple command in the command line. And then we copied that sum, the hash value, and then we first checked the Talos database, and it didn't give it to us over here. Maybe I missed it, so let me do a screen search. Oh, it is right here. So it is actually, it shows up here multiple times. I just didn't recognize it because it doesn't categorize it as a family or anything like that. But Drydex or Dredex, whatever, has shown up on this page several times as well. So if you knew how to, or if I knew how to read these things, we could probably conclude that it belongs to the Drydex family, but I didn't. So the next thing that I did was I just went to virus total, and then I searched for the malware. So this is basically what the home page looks like, and then you could just do a search, and then in the search bar you could drop the hash value, and then when you press enter, it'll show you all the details of the malware, including the vendor analysis and all these different things, all these different companies saying that this is definitely malware. And then from there, what it's going to do is it's going to tell us the family labels, which we had over here. And the one that seemed the most compatible, not compatible, the most probable, that's a good answer. The most probable was Drydex. And so we used Drydex, and that was our answer. So there you go. Scenario 2 answer is done. and it seems to be that we are pretty much done with this task. So there's more out there, as it says. There's all these other rooms. So Yara, MISP, Red Team, Threat Intelligence. Let's check out Yara. Is this a free room? It is not a free room, so only subscribers can deploy virtual machines in this room. But it's not a room that I've done before, so I'm excited to learn about Yara as well. And I'm guessing these other ones are not free rooms as well, because because the room that we're in right now is a free room. And so this would kind of be like an attempt to upsell you to one of the paid rooms. And yeah, so these are all subscriber-based rooms. So the subscription is $12. If you use the link in the description below, the subscription will become $7 because you'll get a $5 credit towards your subscription. So very affordable to actually do it, and you'll get access to a lot of advanced rooms and a lot of great advanced information, and you can become a better security analyst and hacker, so on and so forth. So this is your boy Hank Hackerson with Hank Hacks Hackers, and this was another room that we did on the pathway of SOC Level 1 for TryHackMe. And make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment if you have any questions or if you have any takeaways, and definitely turn on that notification bell so that you get notified the next time that we drop something. So I'm going to terminate this machine and I will move on to the next room in our pathway. Hopefully you had a great time. Talk to you soon. All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, and today we're going to be going through the Yara module that is a part of the SOC Level 1 pathway in TryHackMe, and this is all about the security analyst and working at a security operations center, which is most likely what you're going to get as your first gig in cybersecurity. I know we all want to be pen testers, but one of the most important jobs right now, especially in a lot of different companies and organizations, is the SOC analyst. And so that's the pathway that we're on for this video. And today we're going to be talking about Yara. And this is actually one of the subscriber rooms. So you need to have a subscription for this room. And to get your subscription, it's $12. If you get the link in the description, you'll get a $5 discount on that. So it'll be $7. Which is super affordable, and then you can start hacking and you can start learning about hacking and all that good stuff. So make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out. And we're gonna jump into our room here with Yara. And I think we actually do need to use the attack box at some point as well. So let's see. Yeah, I don't think we need to actually use the attack box. I think it just opens up a Linux Ubuntu machine for us, and we can just use that as we go along. So that will be fine. So the introduction is basically this room helps you understand Linux familiarity, such as installing software, commands for general navigation of the system. It isn't designed to test your knowledge for point scoring, so you just need to follow along and experiment with what you have learned here, which is actually really awesome, and I'm really excited about that. I would love to learn that kind of stuff, and I love those types of rooms that kind of help you learn by giving you what to type, especially considering the fact that I have never done anything in Yara before. Maybe I have, I don't know if I have or if I haven't, but I don't think I'm familiar with this language and what needs to be done. So let's read into it and see what it actually is. So this I recognize because that's a Python command for the first example. So it says that Yara, the pattern matching Swiss knife for malware researchers and everyone else. That's what Yara is technically, and that's by Virus Total. So with such a fitting quote, Yara can identify information based on both binary and textual patterns, such as hexadecimal and strings contained within a file. Rules are used to label these patterns. For example, Yara rules are frequently written to determine if a file is malicious or not, based upon the features or patterns it presents. Strings are a fundamental component of programming languages. Applications use strings to store data such as text. So for example, this is a Python command, and the print command prints this string onto the screen. And so anything that's inside a quote in the Python language is considered a string. So we could write a Yara rule to search for hello world in every program on our operating system if we like. Okay, that seems actually very useful. So why does malware use strings? Malware, just like our hello world application, uses strings to store textual data. Here are a few examples of the data that various malware types store within strings. So ransomware stores this data, and this is a Bitcoin wallet for ransom payments. Okay. Botnet stores this data, which is the IP address of the command and control server. And so both of these are going to be saved as strings here. And I really want to click on this, but I feel like I shouldn't click on this just in case it goes somewhere and it asks me to pay for something, which I don't think TryHackMe is going to do. So why not? Why don't we just click on it and see what's up? So, okay, so it just takes you to, what is this, blockchain.com, and it gives you the Bitcoin balance in this wallet. No freaking way. So this is something that I guess exists right now that people have used previously, and currently there's 1.92 whatever Bitcoin in it, which is a total of $81,000. This is gnarly. So I didn't know that this place existed. So I guess if we go to blockchain.com and look up any address, we can try to see what the balance of that address is. And I'm super tempted to try to see what is going on. So this address has transacted 248 times on Bitcoin blockchain. It has received a total of 19 Bitcoin, which is basically $840,000, and has sent 17 Bitcoin. The current value is so on and so forth. So this is crazy, yo. I did not realize that something like this existed. I mean, I'm not surprised that it does, but this is insane. So wow, I'm gonna get distracted just to analyze all of these transactions, but this is freaking insane. So that's an actual address. That's an actual address that has been used to collect ransomware. And so what we can do is we can basically set up a Yara script to search for this address inside the computer or inside any script, and it'll kind of give you the hint that, hey, this has been used for ransomware before. And if you see this string inside any file, you can assume that that file is probably a ransomware file and what it's going to do. So that's pretty crazy. Explaining the functionality of malware is vastly out of scope for this room due to the sheer size of the topic, and there is more detail in task 12, which is strings, of the malware introductory room. In fact, I am creating a whole learning path for it. If you like to get a taster whilst learning the fundamentals, I would recommend my room. Okay, who made this room? Let's see, who is it? Who created this room? Can we see the author of this room? Let's see. Nope, doesn't show it. What's here? Nope, doesn't show it. Save room. This is pretty gnarly. I love this so much. Oh, I see. So maybe CM Natic is the person who created this room. Okay, let's not get distracted. Okay. So first question right here is, what is the name of the base 16 numbering system that Yara can detect? So let's see, what is it? What's the hint? This is also known as hexadecimal. An example of this is this. I would say hexadecimal, I think. Hexadecimal. Is that the answer? That is the answer, okay. Would the text enter your name be a string in an application? That is yes. Very good. So we have gotten our first two answers for what is Yara. Okay, so now let's deploy the machine. And in browser, no VPN required. That's what it's going to look like. And then the SSH, if you wanted to connect to it via SSH, you would have to be connected to the open VPN or the VPN of TryHackMe, so that they'll allow you to do it. And then the IP address is what will show up right here when the machine is finished loading. And then this would be the username that you could use, as well as the password. And of course, you would do SSH port 292 to secure shell your way into this machine. So that's how we would deploy that. So let's talk about Yara rules while this machine loads. I'm going to exit the split view just so it doesn't mess with me later. So here are some of the rules. So the proprietary language that Yara uses for rules is fairly trivial to pick up but hard to master. This is because your rule is only as effective as your understanding of the patterns that you want to search for. So the Yara rule is simple. Every Yara command requires 2 arguments to be valid. Number 1 is the rule file we create, and number 2 is the name of the file directory or process ID to use the rule for. So for example, if we wanted to use myrule.yar on directory, some directory, we would use the following command: Yara, myrule.yar, some directory. Okay, simple enough. Note that .yar is the standard file extension for Yara rules. We'll make one of the most basic rules you can follow below. So that's it. Make the name file called some file, and you can do touch some file, and create a new file and name it myfirstrule.yar, like below, and then open myfirst.yar using a text editor such as Nano, and input the snippet below and save the file. And basically the rule is example rule, and we have these squiggly brackets, condition is true, and then you just save it. And so nano myfirstrule.yar, and then it'll open up that, and then you would save that in here. And that's basically what we're doing to create our first YAR file. So the name of the rule in the snippet is called the example rule, where we have one condition. In this case, the condition is condition, which is this thing right here. As previously discussed, every rule requires both a name and a condition to be valid. This rule has satisfied those 2 arguments. Simply, the rule we have made checks to see if the file, directory, or PID, which is process ID, that we specify exists via condition true. If the file does exist, we are given the output of example rule. Let's give it a try and on the file that we just made, which is some file, and see what that is, right? So it will be Yara myfirstrule.yar and then the some file. If some file exists, Yara will say example rule because the pattern has been met, as we can see below. So example rule, some file, that would probably be the result, right? If the file does not exist, Yara will output an error such as error scanning some text file could not open file. Okay, so fair enough. So you've made your first rule. Let's actually make the rule, because I've never done this before and I'm very, very interested to see this. So we have our thing, and so just to actually get the error message first, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to first make the YAR file, and then we're going to create that rule inside it, and then from that, so nano myfirstrule.yar, we're going to do that, and there's nano, and then we're going to copy this rule basic, and we're going to paste it in here, and the condition is true, and example is going to be example rule, right? And that's what's going to happen. So instead of saying example rule, just to kind of make it a little bit more modified and personalized, we're going to call it file exists. That's what we're going to call it. So that's going to be the actual name of the rule, and then we're going to do Command O to write it out, and then Command X to close our file. And so that should be it, and it seems like we're now back in our terminal, and so that's what it kind of looks like right here, zoomed in. So let's see if I just do clear, would that work? Yeah, okay, great. So now it takes me back to the top of the screen, and there we go. So rule file exists that we just made, and then if I do ls, it'll show me that I have my myfirstrule.yar file right here, which is great. And then from here, we're gonna run the file, right? So we're gonna do Yara myfirstrule.yar, and then we're gonna do, what is it? Some file, right? That's the name of the file. And you run that, and it says error scanning some file, could not open the file. So there you go. So now we have that. So now we're gonna create some file, and so we're gonna do ls to see if it exists. There you go, it does exist. So now we're gonna run the same command, Yara myfirstrule.yar, and then some file. And now it says file exists, some file. So there you go. That actually worked, right? So easy enough. We were able to create a simple Yara rule or a Yara file that basically searches the system for us to see if that file exists. And so if I actually did this for any of the other files in here, right? So if let's see what that does if we search for tools, for example, right? So if I go Yara my first rule.yar tools, because it's a directory, so maybe that's why it doesn't exist. So if I go to tools and do an ls here, we have Loki, and let's see, cd Loki, is that a file? No, that's a directory as well. And so let's do ls here, and we have a bunch of things. So there's, let's see, cd, let's say cd config. Oh, that's also a directory, cd excludes.cfg. Okay, that's not a directory. Okay, so now we have our path for the file that we want to search for. So I'm going to go back to the home right here, which is, oops, not there. We're going to go here, excuse me. And then inside here is going to be my first rule. So I'm going to do Yara, my first rule.yar, and then I'm going to go into that, right? So it's going to be that /tools /Loki /config what's the name of the file? Excludes.cfg. File exists. Okay, there you go. That was like a little bit of a advanced search mechanism. So there you go. Now we can see that the file actually exists. So I wonder if I just did this. So now I'm just kind of playing around with this. So my first rule.yar, if I just do excludes without the full path, let's see if that works. So it does not exist because we didn't give it the full path. So we have to give it the full path. So we have learned some good information here. And now we're going to move forward to the next piece of this, which is expanding on the rule. And now we're getting into some pretty nitty-gritty stuff. So let's see, it says, checking whether or not a file exists isn't all that helpful. After all, we can figure that out ourselves using much better tools for the job, which is true. Things like locate or find already are kind of inherent to a lot of systems. So Yara has a few conditions which I encourage you to read here at your own leisure. However, I'll detail a few below and explain their purpose. So there is keyword, disk for, or description, I guess, meta, strings, conditions, and wait. So meta is the section of the Yara rule reserved for descriptive information by the author of the rule. For example, you can use DESC, short for description, to summarize what your rule checks for. Anything within this section does not influence the rule itself. Similar to commenting code, it is useful to summarize your rule, okay? Strings actually looks for strings, right? So you can use strings to search for specific text or hexadecimals in files or programs. For example, say we wanted to search a directory for all files containing hello world, we would create a rule such as this below. So the rule is hello world checker, and it's going to look for strings, and the variable, in a lot of languages you would put a $sign in front of it to declare that this is a variable, and then the variable is going to equal this string, and it's inside quotations. And so now we have a rule that is checking for strings, and that string is the hello world string. So we define the keyword strings, and we want to search for hello world is stored within the variable hello world, right? And of course we need a condition here to make the rule valid. In this example, to make the string the condition we need, the variable's name in this case is going to be hello world. And so the variable's name is just going to be the condition as they declared right here. So this is the actual rule, and then within the rule we have created a condition that says check for this variable, right? So essentially, if any file has the string hello world, then the rule will match. However, this is literally saying that it will only match if hello world is found, and will not match if hello world underscore or hello world all caps without the exclamation or anything like that is found. So to solve this, the condition any of them allows multiple strings to be searched for, like below. So strings, and then you have hello world with the exclamation, and then the first capital letter, then you have all lowercase, then you have all caps, and then now you say condition any of them, meaning any of these variables would be present, so then it would return true. Now any file with the strings of these things will now trigger the rule. So the condition that we've already used have been true, and any of them, much like regular programming, you can use operators such as less than or equal to, greater than or equal to, or not equal to. So when you put an exclamation in front of it, that's not. And so for example, the rule below would do the following. This is the string, and then it says hello world is less than or equal to 10. So, and they put a number here, so a hash right here. So it says it's going to look for the string and then only say the rule matches if there are less than or equal to 10 occurrences of the hello world string. And this is where that number I think is very important, because in the previous examples, it was checking for the actual variable itself by using the $sign. So this part is pretty important. And so combining keywords. And so now you can search with and, not, or, right? So to combine multiple conditions, you would say, this is the string, and then the condition is hello world and file size is less than 10 kilobytes. Okay? I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory. So the rule will only match if both conditions are true, because we said and, right? So obviously if you put or, it'll bring up any files that has a less than 10 kilobyte file size, or any file that has that string inside of it, which is kind of, I mean, it's probably going to bring up a lot of results. So the rule will only match if both are true. To illustrate below, the rule we created in this case did not match because although the file has hello world in it, is that it has a file size larger than 10 kilobytes. And so the output has been intentionally left blank because I think we're supposed to maybe find the answer for that. However, the rule matched this time because the hash has both, because the file has both hello world and a file size less than 10 kilobytes. And so my first rule, my text file, and then it actually worked, right? Remember that the text within the red box is the name of our rule, and the text within the green is the matched file. So where is the red box that we see? I guess here, right here. Okay, so here are some rules can be compiled with Yara C to increase the speed of multiple Yara scans. So you have the import module, so import PE, and this looks like a Python file or a Python language, because import belongs to Python. But so Yara modules allow you to extend its functionality. The PE module can be used to match specific data from a PE. So PE number of exports, PE sections, PE im splash, PE imports, or imp hash, import hash, imports the kernel, and then so on and so forth. So the list of modules that can be imported within PE is right here. And then the rule name itself, which is the name that we have done right here. So rule demo rule, and then / tag one demo. And so it's, let's see if it talks about the tag here. So the rule name identifies the rule. It is recommended to add a meaningful name. There are different types of rules, global rules, private rules, and then there is the rule tag used to filter Yara's output, okay? And then you have the metadata that is just being applied to this particular rule. So this is, as they mentioned earlier, it's kind of like comments, so it doesn't really mean anything. So it says rules can have a metadata section where you can put additional information about your rule, like who wrote it, the date, the description, so on and so forth. And then you have number 4, which is the strings that we're looking for. So we're looking for these strings. So string 0 is hello, no case wide, string 1 is hello, full word, ASCII, and then there's the hexadecimal of all of these different characters. And then the variable itself, you're looking for the MD5 of these things. So let's read that. The field is used to define the strings that should match your rule. It exists 3 types of strings: text strings, hexadecimal, and regular expressions. So the third one, I'm guessing, is this is the regular expressions version of the rule. And then we have the text string, which is in green right here. So it says no case means case insensitive. Wide means encoded strings with 2 bytes per character. Full word Do we have that? Yeah, we do. Non-alphanumeric, and then XOR, look for XOR description. Do we even have that in there? I don't think we do. And then you have base 64 encoding, and those things are not referenced here. So we only have ASCII, which is, yeah, it's not even referenced here. So then you have the hexadecimal. So hex strings can be used to match pieces of code. So wildcards would be any of these things right here. Jump would be 3B, 24B4. Alternatives, F4. I don't know what this means, so I'm not even going to pretend like I could explain that to you right now. I know what hexadecimal means, and I know what a wildcard character is. And so in this particular situation, do we even have a wildcard character? We do not have a wildcard character. And do we have any jumps? Yeah, see, so I don't know. That's kind of still a mystery to me. And then we have our condition, right? So we have the meta, we have the strings, and then now we have a condition. And the condition in this particular situation includes, or let's talk about it. So Boolean operators, which is and, or not, greater than, less than, so on and so forth. Arithmetic operators, plus, minus, multiplication, divide, or the remainder. Bitwise operators, and the pipe, and then these various, I don't know what you would call those, counting strings, and then strings offset. So the condition itself is saying u int 16, which is a full-on condition. So right here, it actually has it over here. So accessing data at a given position. Okay, got it. So that's what that does, is that it accesses the data, I'm guessing from the position of 0 all the way to this position, and file size less than 2,000 kilobytes. Then you are or, so it says this is one rule, or the number of sections equals 1, and any of the strings that we have over here, and no hexadecimals. So pretty complicated rule. This is why they were saying that it's simple to kind of make these things, but as you develop them, it becomes more and more complicated. So it's looking for a set of strings, so any of the strings or hexadecimals, and then the same condition to many strings for all of them being hashtag. Is that even here? It's not in here. Then scan the entry point value at PE entry point, and then match the length, and then search within a range of offsets. So this is this is a great little cheat sheet to understand, but as you kind of go through it, it becomes more and more complex. So I am not going to pretend like I have memorized any of this, or like I know what the hell I'm talking about right now. So we just know that that's basically what we did. And so Frogger has recently created a handy cheat sheet that breaks down and visualizes the element of Yara shown above, and all image credits go to him. It's a great reference point for getting started. So thank you, Frogger. Now, Yara modules. So frameworks such as the Cuckoo Sandbox or Python's PE module allow you to improve the technicality of the Yara rules tenfold. So Cuckoo Sandbox is an automated malware analysis environment. This module allows you to generate Yara rules based upon the behaviors discovered from the sandbox. As this environment executes malware, you can create rules specific such as runtime strings and the like. So it's very important if you're analyzing malware to not open the malware. You want to open it inside some kind of a sandbox environment that if anything does happen, the sandbox catches it and it doesn't affect your system. That's very important. Then you have the Python PE module that allows you to create Yara rules from various sections and elements of the Windows portable executable structure. Okay, explaining this structure is out of the scope and is covered in the malware introductory room. However, this structure is the standard formatting of all executables and DLL files on Windows, including the programming libraries that are used. Examining a PE file's contents is an essential technique in malware analysis. This is because behaviors such as cryptography or worming can be largely identified without reverse engineering or execution of the sample. It's very important, right? So without doing all of the work of reverse engineering or executing the flipping thing, you can figure out whether or not it's a worm or some kind of cryptograph, so on and so forth. So sounds pretty cool. There we go. So now, other tools and Yara. So Yara tools, knowing how to create custom Yara rules is useful, but luckily you don't have to create many rules from scratch to begin using Yara to search for evil. There are plenty of GitHub resources and open source tools along with commercial products that can be utilized to leverage Yara in hunt operations and or incident response engagements. Loki, what, not who, is Loki. So we're not talking about the Marvel character. It's a free open source IOC scanner created and written by Florian Roth. Based on the GitHub page, the detection is based on 4 methods: file name, IOC check, Yara rule check, we are here, and hash check, and C2 back connect check. So there are additional checks that Loki can be used for. For a full rundown, reference the GitHub README. Loki can be used on both Windows and Linux systems and can be downloaded here. Please note that you are not expected to use this tool in this room. Fair enough. So it's a Python file, as we can establish here, and of course from the Python command here. And -h is for help with most things. So when you run that, it's going to give you the usage. So it says loki.py, and then any of these things could be referenced to the program itself, so that it can kind of start doing a bunch of things for you. So things like the path, you can specify what path the file is on, the size, probably that's what S stands for, L if it's a log file or creator log file, remote log host, warning level, alert level, all hard drives, all drives, print all, vulnerability check, rootkit. There's a lot of good stuff in here. So Loki, simple IOC scanner, and the optional arguments, of course, are help. And then you have Thor. That's hilarious. So we had Loki, and then now we have Loki's brother, Thor. Thor Lite is Florian's newest multi-platform IOC and Yara scanner. There are pre-compiled versions for Windows, Linux, Mac, and Mac OS. A nice feature with Thor Lite is its scan throttling to limit exhausting CPU resources. For more information or to download the binary, you can start there. You need to subscribe to their mailing list to obtain a copy of the binary. And note that Thor is geared toward corporate customers. Thor Lite is the free version. Understood? Please note that you are not expected to use this tool in this room. And so this is kind of it. And so this does not seem to be a Python file. And this // implies that it's a shell file or some kind of a shell command. And then so when you run H again, it kind of gives you the help menu. And so you have, the scan options, and then you have various other options like all hard drives, max file size to check, and scan mode. So if you want it to be a quick scan, and so on and so forth. Then you have Fenrir, naming convention still mythical themed. I don't know exactly who that is though. So this is the third tool created by Florian Roth. You guessed it. In the previous two are named above. What? Okay, I don't know what the hell this has to do with it. The updated version was created to address the issue from its predecessors where requirements must be met for them to function. Fenrir is a bash script. It will run on any system capable of running bash. Nowadays, even Windows can run bash. We're not expected to use this. And so there you go. So /Fenrir.sh, and there it is. And then simple bash IOC checker, Florian Roth. Yara, yet another Yara automaton. It was created by the Electronic Frontier Foundation and released in 2020. Based on their website, Yara is a new open source tool to help researchers manage multiple Yara rule repositories. It starts by importing a set of high quality Yara rules, and then lets researchers add their own rules, disable specific rule sets, and run scans of files. Currently, Yara will only run on Linux systems, and so that's basically it. So you would go Yara and yet another Yara automaton, and so on and so forth. So in this section, in the next section, we will examine Loki further. So let's actually see if this exists in our little tools file inside this thing. So if I go to cd tools and list that, we have Loki in there, and we have yargen. So yargen, and what is this? Third-party DBS, tools yargen.py. Let's go to tools in here. What do we got? And that's byte mapper. Okay, so I mean, that doesn't seem like there's a bunch of tools in there, but we do have Loki, and we're probably gonna use Loki in the next task, right? As they said. So let's go to the next one. And yeah, we are gonna use it. And there's a lot of questions that we gotta answer. So let's first and foremost clear our screen over here. And let's zoom out. Do I need to zoom out or zoom scroll up or whatever? Scroll up, excuse me. Okay, so using Loki as a security analyst, you might need to research various threat intelligence reports, blog postings, and gather information on the latest tactics and techniques used in the wild, past or present. Typically, in these readings, IOCs and their hashes, IP addresses, domain names, etc., will be shared so rules can be created to detect these threats in your environment, along with Yara rules. On the flip side, you might find yourself in a situation where you've encountered something unknown that your security stack of tools did not detect or cannot detect. Using tools such as Loki, you will need to add your own rules based on your threat intelligence gathers or finding them from an incident response engagement. As mentioned before, Loki has a set of rules already, and it's located inside our tools, which we already saw. Navigate to the Loki directory and run Python loki.py help to see what options are available. If you're running Loki on your own system, the first command you should run is update to see if you can update the directory, or it will add the signature-based directory, which Loki uses to scan for known evil, which heuristic analysis has to do with the signatures of files. And so you want to update the signature-based directory of Loki so that it can actually do its job and find based on the most recent update of signatures. This is already executed within the attached VM. And so if we go inside Loki, signature base, and list ls, you'll have IOCs, miscellaneous, and Yara. So navigate to the Yara directory. Feel free to inspect the different Yara files used by Loki to get an idea of what these rules will hunt for. To run Loki, you can use the following command, and they're running Loki from within file directory 1. So file 1 directory. So Yara suspicious files file 1, Python, the path to Loki, and then the file itself, I guess. You are the security analyst for a mid-sized law firm. A coworker discovered suspicious files on a web server within your organization. These files were discovered while performing updates to the corporate website. The files have been copied to your machine for analysis. They are located in suspicious files. And use Loki to answer the question below. So scan file 1. Does Loki detect this file as suspicious, malicious, or benign? Okay, let's do it. So first we need to go to the, let's see, ls suspicious files. There we go, ls, and we have file 1, ls, index3, or index.php. Okay, so now what I need to do is run loki.py, which seems to be, so if I do Python and just copy their command, tools.loki/loki.py, that should be it, because we're going back 2 times and then we're going to be inside the home and then we're going to do, okay, that works, that seems to be fine. And then, so now what? Now I just do /p or /p and then dot, I guess. Let's see if that works. Okay, let's see what this all means here. So we have what? A couple of notices that says starting Loki on this version, so on and so forth, registered plugin, noted da-da-da-da-da. File name characteristics initialized with 2841 regex patterns. Server indicators initialized malicious MD5 hashes, SHA1, SHA256, fault positive, all that stuff. So this is all info. Then you have notice that programs should be run as root to ensure all access rights to process memory and filled file objects, running plugin, scanning. Now here's the information about the file. So that's the file that's in here. Score is 70, type is PHP, size is that. First bytes are this. And then we have MD5 hash, SHA1 and 256 hashes created. Score is 70, matches web shell, Yara rule, etc., etc. What do we have as the, and so the detected file is suspicious, malicious, or benign. Oh, I see. So I think it did say suspicious, right? Let's go back, zoom in one more time. Yeah, suspicious objects detected. So I think it is suspicious. Suspicious. There we go. Okay, what Yara rule did it match on? So let's try to find the Yara rule, because I did see that here as well. So the Yara rule match was web shell, metas lsoft, metasloft, whatever. Is that the actual rule? Web shell metas lsoft. Okay, that is it. What does Loki classify this file as? I see. So in the description it says that it's a web shell, and based on the hint it told us to check the description. So it is a web shell. Based on the output, what string within the Yara rule did it match on? So based on the output, what string within the Yara rule did it match on? And so I believe it's this thing. So string 1 right here. Whoops. String 1 $buff. So we're going to do buff. Okay. So str1. Okay, there you go. What is the name and version of this hack tool? So can we find that information now? And our hint says to check the first bytes, and that's what it is right here. So that looks like a name and version. So B374K 2.2. So B374K 2.2. There we go. Inspect the actual Yara file that flagged file 1. Within this rule, how many strings are there to flag this file? So inspect the actual Yara file that flagged file 1. Within this rule, how many strings are there to flag this file? Got it. So that's where it is. So Yara, Thor webshells.yar, and then so scan file 2. Okay, and then does Loki detect this as malicious or benign? And then inspect file 2, what is the name and version of this web shell? Okay, so now we can actually exit this. And so we need to go to the home folder and find the Yara rule, which was inside, what was it? It was inside Yara, Thor webshells.yar. So ls okay, so Thor webshells.yar, I ran a locate file, which is, or a locate command, excuse me, to try to find this thing, and it seems like I'm way off with my search for it. So I need to go to cd home first, and there you go, cmnatic, and then from here we can go to cd cmnatic /tools /loki /signature base /Yara. No such file or directory. You gotta be kidding. Okay. So cd cmnatic, like that. Very good. /tools /Loki. Let's see if that worked. Okay, it does work. Great. So I think it was the initial / that was incorrect. So from here now we're gonna go to the cd signature base and Yara, and now we should be inside this thing, and now we have all of these flipping web shells. Holy shiza. So now we're going to do nano Thor, and hopefully it'll fill the rest of it for me. Oh, it doesn't, so I gotta find the oh my god, bruh, where's the flipping thing? Thor, I see Thor hack tools and Thor web shells. So Thor web shells.yar nano. Open this mofo up. Okay. So what's the question? Inspect the actual Yara file that flagged file 1. Within this rule, how many strings are there to flag this file? And so within this rule, how many strings are there to flag this file? So four, 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 strings, or maybe more. Seems like there's more. So this is the full scanner. So okay, there's 4 strings here, and then there's 4 strings here. So it's either 4 or 8. So I'm gonna try 8 first, and it's not the answer, so 4. That is also not the answer. What? What are you talking about? How many strings are there to flag this file? Okay, so I had to scroll down for a minute until I found this freaking rule right here called metaslough, whatever the hell this is called. And within this, there's only 1 string. Yo, this is a large file, you guys, so that 1 has to be the answer. Okay, there you go. That was freaking insane. Okay, let me see if I can kind of, oh, you can't see it because I'm going to just hold up and then I'll do like a time lapse from here just so you can see how far I came down to find this. Okay, we're going to do a quick little, we're going to zoom in here and then I'm going to do a quick little time lapse type of a thing just so you can see how freaking long this thing was. Okay, here we go. And there you go. And now we're at the top of the file. That took a long ass time. Just to kind of be honest about this. That was insane how long that shit took. Okay, but thankfully I was able to find the actual answer, and I did it more so because I really wanted to see what the hell was going on here, because that was insane. There was a lot of code, and I bet there was even more code below that, meaning there were more rules. There were just so many rules inside of that. And I mean, thanks to, what's his name, Florian is the guy who wrote this freaking this code or this rule. What's his name? Whoever made Thor as well as Loki. It's that guy. What's his name? How am I missing his name? Oh, Florian. It's definitely Florian. Okay, so that dude is freaking badass. Okay, whoever he is, wherever he is, he did all of that work so that we didn't have to do it, and that was one hell of a freaking yikes. That was an experience right there, let me tell you, buddy. All right, so now we're going to do what? We're gonna scan file 2, and then we're gonna inspect file 2. What is the name and version of this web shell? Okay, so here we go. First, let me plug in this thing so that my computer doesn't die mid-recording. All right, we got that. So now we got to go inside the suspicious files directory and find file 2. So cd suspicious files ls file 2, and we're going to run it with python //tools/loki /loki.py p and then dot, and it's going to be file. Oh no, I need to go inside file 2 first. So cd file 2, excuse me. There we go. Now we can run python //tools.loki.py, and then we can do -p dot, and here we go. Okay, cool. So it ran it over here. It seems that the system seems to be clean, as it says. There's no warning messages or anything like this. So seems to be fine. It doesn't seem like there's an issue here. So which means we could actually probably go inside that file and see what is up, if there's anything in here. So the suspicious, malicious, or benign, it says benign, or it doesn't say benign, but it doesn't say that it's suspicious or malicious in any way. So that being said, now what I can do is I can actually inspect file 2 and what is the name and version of the web shell. So read the comments in the file. Basically, what we can do is just go here, do ls, what's the name of the freaking file? It's index.php. I'm guessing that's the thing. So we're going to do nano index.php. It's going to open it, and let's read the comments. And the comment says this is the shell. So it is B374K 3.2.3. So B374K, whoops, 3.2.3. Let's see, that's the answer. The remote server is not currently reachable. Please reconnect. Okay, let's try to reconnect. Okay, cool. So we got the exercise done. The research of that took a really long time, just going through that freaking Yara file, the Thor file. But here we go. Let's try to see what we can do here as far as creating rules. So from the previous section, we realized that we have a file that Loki did not flag on. At this point, we are unable to run Loki on the web servers because if file 2 exists in any of the web servers, it will go undetected. We need to create a Yara rule to detect this specific web shell in our environment. Typically, this is what is done in the case of an incident, which is an event that affects and impacts the organization in a negative way. We can manually open the file and attempt to sift through the lines upon the code to find possible strings that can be used in our newly created Yara rule. Let's check how many lines in particular the file has. You can run the following commands: strings, file name, and then wc -l, and it's going to give you this. So I mean, they already did it, but I guess I can run it too. If you try to go through each string line by line, you should quickly realize that this is going to be daunting. That's what it was when I was running through the rule file. So this is the catting the output of the freaking thing, which is, yeah, a bunch of stuff. So luckily we can use YarGen. Yes, another tool created by Florian Roth. This guy is a badass, bro. Whoever this guy is. I'm going to try to see if I can find him on social media. To aid us with this task, what is YarGen? It is a generator for Yara rules. From the README, the main principle is the creation of Yara rules from strings found in malware files while removing all strings that also appear in goodware files. Therefore, YarGen includes a big goodware strings and opcode database as zip archives that have to be extracted before the first use. Navigate to the YarGen directory, which is within tools. If you're running YarGen on your own system, you need to update it by running update. This will update the good opcodes and good strings DBs databases from the online repository. This update will take a few minutes. Once it has been successfully updated, you'll see the following message at the end of your output, which says that, you know, such and such and such. And then to use it to generate a Yara rule for file 2, you can run the following command. And we need to be inside. Oh, it doesn't seem to be that we need to be inside anything. We can just run it from Python yargen.py. We probably have to be inside the YarGen directory, I would say that. And home, semantic suspicious file, file 2, that's where the file is. And exclude good and output it to file 2 yar. And brief explanation of the parameters. M is the path to the file that you want to generate rules for. Exclude good forces to exclude all goodware strings. These are strings found in legitimate software and can increase false positives. O is the location and name you want to output the Yara rule. So got it. So got you. That makes sense. If all is well, you should see the following output, which is generated one simple rule, all rules written to this, and then YarGen rule has finished. Generally, you would examine the Yara rule and remove any strings that you feel might generate false positives. For this exercise, we'll leave the generated Yara rule as is and test to see if Yara will flag file number 2 or not. Another tool created to assist you with this is called Yara Analyzer. You guessed it, by Florian Roth. That guy's a badass. We will not examine that tool in this room, but you should read up on it, especially if you decide to start creating your own Yara rules. And this is all the stuff by YarGen. And so from within the root of the suspicious file directory, what command would you run to test Yara and your Yara rule against file 2? Okay. within the root of the suspicious file directory, what command would you run? Okay, which would be Yara, the name of the file, and then the thing, and then did Yara rule flag file 2, probably gonna say yay to that, and then copy the Yara rule you created in the Loki signatures directory, and then test the Yara rule with Loki. Does it flag file 2? What is the name of the variable for the string that it matched on? And then inspect the Yara rule, how many strings were generated, and one of the conditions to match how many strings were generated. One of the conditions to match the Yara rule specifies the file size. The file has to be less than what amount? Okay, so let's start from the top and actually let's create our new rule using yargen. So first and foremost, we need to be inside the yargen folder, and I feel like they've already updated it, but let's actually go to tools, yargen ls, and then do python 3 yargen.py update. Okay, I think that's done, or at least it seems to be done, because that's what it said the update command was going to be. So now what we can do is we can actually run the file and try to create our new rule based on the location of the file 2, or the file that was not detected as such. So I'm going to go back to the home directory, and from here I just want to double check and make sure that within home, so let's print the current working directory, which is home cmnatic. Great. So within here we have suspicious files, and within that we have file 2, so that's all good, and then the PHP file is in there. So we can go back to home, and from here we're going to run the command, which is python 3 yargen.py, which is what we have. I feel like it needs to be inside the actual, no, yeah, I do need to be inside tools, and I do need to be inside yargen, because that's where the Python file is. Okay, so great. So now we can do python 3 yargen.py, and you're going to look for the file that is in cmnatic suspicious files, and file 2 is the directory, and you're going to exclude, right, exclude good, and you're going to output the rule into home cmnatic suspicious files file 2 .yar, and there it goes. So while that runs, we're gonna make sure that we understand the rest of the instructions. I mean, so we have the new YAR file that's going to be inside the folder for YAR2, or for the file 2, excuse me. And then so what we can do after that's done is we can go within the root of the suspicious files, run the command, which is Yara yar2.yar, or file2.yar, excuse me, and then the directory of the actual file that we're going to be scanning. So let's see, all rules written to that yar finished successfully. So great. So now we're here. So now we're going to go back to home, and then we're going to go to cd suspicious files, and where is it? File2.yar. So it's going to be Yara file2.yar, and it's going to be, what are we doing? File2 / what's the name of the thing? I think it was index like that .php, right? That's it. There you go. Let's see if that runs. Cmnatic suspicious files, home cmnatic suspicious files, file2 index file. So that means that is in fact an actual suspicious file, because it didn't say that it didn't find anything, right? So let me, Yara file2.yar file2 /indexphp. That should be the run. Okay, great. Did Yara rule flag file2? I'm gonna say yes. Yeah. Now copy the Yara rule you created into the Loki signatures binary. Okay, so that's what I see. Actually, so it's not, I don't need to do any of that. Actually, I can just go into the signature base, which was right over here. So that's where it would be. So actually I can get rid of that, and I can go to CD back to home, and then there should be in tools, there would be Loki. So I would do CD Loki, and there's a file called signature. There should be signature base. Okay, great. So if I go to signature base, that would be the full thing. And then we have IOCs, miscellaneous, and Yara. And I'm guessing it's going to be inside the Yara. Yeah, and this is where all of the signatures were, including that one that was called Thor. Yeah, Thor web shells. Okay, great. So this is actually the specific directory for that. So we're going to go back to home. So we have that directory listed. And now I need to go ahead and copy the file from the directory that is in, which is this directory that we did. So we want to go ahead and copy this file into the signature directory for Yara. And we're going to use the command cp for copy. And we're going to do home cmnatic suspicious files / file2.yar. And then we're going to put it inside home cmnatic tools Loki signature base Yara. Okay, that seems like it was fine. So now let's see if I can actually find it inside that thing. So if I could just basically do ls, and then I'm going to do home cmnatic tools Loki signature base Yara, and it would just list everything that's already in there, and see if we can find our little rule in here called file2. So it would be, look at all these damn rules. There you go, file2.yar, baby. We got it. Okay, so there it is. So now it's inside the signature base. So now that I've done that, test the Yara rule with Loki. Does it flag file2? So what was the command to actually do it? So I need to go inside where let me go back to what we did using Loki to do it. So we were inside the directory for the actual malware, and then we ran it as such. So first I got to go into the directory, suspicious files file2. That's where we are, and we're going to do ls, and there's the file. And so now we're going to run python tools loki loki.py p dot. And so now we're going to run this against the actual new thing with the new rule that we have, and it should show it as a bad thing. So let's see if it actually does. Well, look at that. It actually did give us some warnings and all of that stuff. Nice. So all this actually works. Okay, great. So did the Yara rule with Loki flag the file? Yes, it did. What is the name of the variable for the string that it matched on? So let's see, look at $x1. So is it over here already? I really don't want to go through the freaking file. So let's see. Okay, so it seems like it is not in the output right here, and I have to actually go analyze the freaking file, which is a pain in the ass, but we're gonna do it. Where is our file? It's gonna be in here, file2. So nano file2.yar, and I bet it's one giant thing. Okay, look. Oh my God, look. It seems to be simple enough. And so the hint tells me to look at $x1, which is the very first one right here. Great. And so what's the name of the variable for the string. Is it Zepto? The name of the variable for the string. I'm going to say Zepto. I'm just going to say Zepto. Let's see if that works. That did work. Oh, thank God. I did not want to run through this entire thing. Okay, so what's the inspector rule? How many strings were generated? So we got 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, da, 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 da. We got 20. 20 is the answer. Give me 20. 20 is the answer. Great. Out of the conditions to match the Yara rule specifies the file size. The file has to be less than what amount? So these are the strings, and then one of them is supposed to say file size. So check, let's see, buff check. Oh, boom, right here. It actually says file size needs to be less than 700 kilobytes. So 700 kilobytes. Press enter. Tell me that's correct. Yes, it is. I am so excited that this did not take as long as the last one, because that was a long ass research phase. Okay, so great. Nice. We're done with this one, and we can move on. We can move on to the last piece right here, which is Valhalla. There's a lot of Greek mythology, and not just Greek mythology, but Marvel references. And it's created by none other than Florian Roth. I mean, this guy is clearly, he's a fan of Marvel and Valhalla and all this different kind of stuff, Greek myths and all that. So, online Yara feed created and hosted by Netrock System, Florian Roth. By now, you should be aware of the ridiculous amount of time and energy Florian has dedicated to creating these tools for the community. Maybe we should have just called this the Florian Roth Room. LOL. Hilarious. Yeah, we probably should have. I mean, this guy is a genius. Whoever the hell he is, he's a freaking badass. Per the website, Valhalla boosts your detection capabilities with the power of thousands of handcrafted, high-quality Yara rules. Okay? And so you can query it, API key, JSON or demo, search, etc., etc. From the image above, we should denote that we can conduct searches based on a keyword, a tag, an attack technique, and this references MITRE, SHA-256 hash, or the rule name itself. So for more information on attack, please visit the MITRE room, which we've done a video on, so go watch that video. Taking a look at the data provided to us, let's examine the rule in the screenshot below. So newest Yara rules, such and such and such is the name of the name, and it says detect suspicious encoded who am I string that is a program to evaluate the current username and often used in malicious or benign recon scripts. We are provided by the name, a brief description, a reference link for more information, along with the rule date. Feel free to look at some rules to become familiar with the usefulness of Valhalla. The best way to learn the product is by just jumping in. Picking up from our scenario, at this point, you know that the two files are related. Even though Loki classified the files as suspicious, you know in your gut that they are malicious. Hence the reason you created a Yara rule using Yargen to detect it on other web servers. But let's further pretend that you are not code savvy. FYI, not all security professionals know how to code or script, or even to read it. You need to conduct further research regarding these files to receive approval to eradicate the files from the network. Time to use Valhalla for some threat intelligence gathering. So enter the SHA-256 hash of file 1 into Valhalla. Is this file attributed to an APT group, yes or no? So from our last exercise, we found out that we can simply find the SHA-256, and hopefully it'll be in Linux as well. So we want, which one? For file 1. So we're going to go into file 1, and we're going to run ls, and that's the name of the file. So we're going to do SHA-256 sum, and then index with a 3 PHP, and give me the sum. There's the sum. Yeah, buddy. So I'm going to try to highlight this, and I'm going to see if I can copy it. Okay. That's not what I wanted to do. So is it Control C? Ooh, how do I copy this? Command C? No, that's definitely not it. Okay, so hopefully that copied. Every time I right click it, it does copy paste. So I'm guessing it copied. So let's see if we can go to Valhalla. and that's not what I want to do. So what is their domain name? Valhalla Valhalla detection. Let's try to see if we can find that. Nextron Systems Valhalla. There we go. And we're going to go in here. I love you, but I do not want you to have my information. So we're just going to save custom choices here. And so what do I need? Get started. Is that where I need to go? Okay, here we go. Let's see if this actually... Oh, it did. So search. Okay, great. So we actually have some things that showed up under this. So what's the answer that we're looking for here? Is this file attributed to an APT group? So reference such and such, description, detect shellstorm shells, hack tool web shell found in disclosed attack, APT Chinese group, yes. So yes, that would be the answer, is yay. Do the same for file 2. What is the name of the first Yara rule to detect file 2? So we're going to now try to delete this whole thing, and we're going to go back to file 2 and cd file 2. And what was the name of the file again? Index. Okay, so SHA 256 sum, index with a 1 PHP. And there's that. And now I'm going to do a highlight real quick. And I'm going to copy that. And so now I'm going to go back over here and we're going to paste that. Get rid of the space at the end. Let's search that. Okay, so rule name is this. And that should be the answer to this question. What? What is the name of the first Yara rule to detect file 2? What do you mean, bro? That's literally it. The name of the first Yara rule is this, web shell repo convert. What's going on? What am I doing? Why is that wrong? Okay, so I guess ever since the creation of this room, there were 2 new rules that were applied to this. And so I tried this one as the answer, which is technically the 3rd rule. Or, I mean, it does say rule 1, so maybe that's what it is. So that's the actual answer to this, and so we got that. So now examine the information for file 2 from virus total. The Yara signature match is from what scanner? So let's go to virus total. We're going to take this again with us just in case, because I did not. I'm going to go to here. This is our path, so virus total. And we're going to go here. We're going to search for it by the hash. And so what is the question again? The Yara signature is matched from what scanner? The Yara signature match is from what scanner? Okay, so we got it in the community. It says the signature match is from the Thor APT scanner. So let's see if this is our correct answer here. That is indeed the correct answer. Okay, so enter the SHA-256 hash of file 2 into virus total. Did every AV detect this as malicious? So let's go back here and let's go to our detection tab and let's see if every one of them, no, every one of them did not detect it. So that's very important to know. And besides .php, what other extension is recorded for this file? So let's see, we have PHP, we have .sys, .txt, those are the various names, any other relations that we can find here. Okay, so I'm gonna say based on the front page, or details, excuse me, based on the details page, we have a few different names for it right here, which is, most of them are PHP, and then you have a .sys right here, and a .txt. So let's see which one of those might be the answer. I'm gonna do sys first. That is not the answer. TXT, that is not the answer. Okay, so let's see what the hint says. Look under the details tab in virus total to find out the extensions for the submission. Dude, I literally did. So under the details tab, which is where we are, is there more? Oh, there is more, I see. So .exe probably, that's probably what it is. I mean, there was a bunch of different ones. So maybe exe is the answer. That is the answer. Okay. What JavaScript library is used by file 2? Let's see if it tells us that in the details here. Okay, well, not accidentally, but what I did was I actually went and Googled from VirusTotal. I ended up Googling this thing, and I went to that JavaScript page for that, or not the JavaScript, the GitHub page for that. But we're gonna do it from the Valhalla page, and it'll bring us here. And then from here, we can try to find the requirements for it, right? And so under requirements, it actually says that you need PHP version, yada yada, and then it is using Zepto.js library version 1.1.2. So we're gonna go here, and we're gonna do Zepto as our answer, and that is indeed the answer. And so is this Yara rule in the default Yara file Loki uses to detect these types of hack tools? Is this Yara rule in the default Yara file Loki uses to do the thing? So what is the rule that we're looking for? Oh, I see. The name of it is this thing, web shell B374K rule 1. So let's see if we can go actually and find that. cd ls cd tools ls cd Loki ls cd signature base ls cd Yara ls, and we are looking for, it is called, what is it called? Something, something, something. So what is it? Web shell B374K rule 1. I'm gonna say no, but let's see what the hint says. Examine Thor webshell.yar and search for the rule name. I am not going back inside of this freaking yar file. So if this is what the hint says, I'm gonna say yes, it is. It is in there. Oh no, it's not. Golly. So that, I mean, bro, how could I have gone through that whole thing? I could probably grep for it maybe. So let's see. Let's do a little bit of a Googling to see how we can grep for a file, right? So, or through a Linux file. So it's called the okay. There's a little trick that we can use to search while we're in Nano. So if I did Thor webshell.yar and it'll open it up. Web shells, son of a gun. You're so annoying right now. Nano Thor webshells.yar. And so we're inside it. Now from here, I think we could do where is to search for it, and it would be B374. Oi, damn it. B374K, enter. B374K, rule web shell B374K. Okay. Is Yara rule in the default Yara file Loki uses to? I mean, it says that it's there, so why would it say that it's not there? Web shell rule 1. Web shell B374K rule 1. So maybe if I search for, what is it? Web shell 374K rule 1. Maybe if we search for that. So let's try to see if we can find that. So we're going to do Control W for where is or search or whatever. And we're going to do web shell B374K underscore rule 1. Okay, fine. That's not found. But it does say B374K PHP, which is really annoying because it does have that in here. So I guess, but specifically for that, it says, is this Yara rule in the default directory, which is not. Okay, so that was it. That was that. And the conclusion here is that we explored Yara, how to use it and manually create basic rules. We also explored various open source tools created by frickin' homeboy. What was his name? I already forgot his name. But by going through the room scenario, you should understand the need as a blue teamer to know how to create Yara rules effectively if we rely on such tools. Commercial products, even though not perfect, will have a much richer Yara rule set than an open source product. Both commercial and open source will allow you to add Yara rules to expand its capabilities. If it is not clear, the reason why file 2 was not detected is that the Yara rule was not in the Yara file used by Loki to detect the hack tool web shell, even though it's the hack tool has been around for years and has been attributed to at least one nation and state. The Yara rule is present in the commercial variant of Loki, which is Thor. So we had to add it ourselves by using yargen, and that in itself was very useful. So this was very useful to me. I actually enjoyed this a lot, and I can't wait to expand on my knowledge for this, especially as a blue teamer, right? Because I do love penetration testing, but it's just important to know these. And even as a pen tester, it's important to know which one of these files finds your specific tools that you're trying to use for penetration testing, and if it'll show up as a detection. So all of that stuff I think is really, really important, and I learned a lot. So I hope you learned a lot too. This was one of the longer videos that I've done, and hopefully there was a lot of information that you took away from it. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers, and this was one of the paid rooms inside of TryHackMe. So this was only available to subscribers. So if you don't have your subscription, you can get it for $12. If you use the link in the description below, you will get it for $7 because there's a discount through that link. And then you can begin your hacking journey and learn a lot of stuff from TryHackMe. Make sure you like, subscribe, share, comment, and of course turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time that a video comes out on this channel. All right, peace, love, and chicken grease. I will see you in the next video. All right, hello and welcome back. It's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers. And we are on the SOC Level 1 pathway. As you can see, there's a lot going on. So this is probably going to be one of those pathways that we're going to be working on for the next week or so, probably maybe even longer. I'm going to try to get as many of them out as possible, especially because I haven't done most of these rooms myself. Oh, I've done Wireshark. Okay, cool. Or at least the basics of Wireshark. Okay, so today we're going to be doing Open CTI. This is available to subscribers only, so this is not one of the free rooms. So if you do not have a paid subscription to TryHackMe, you can get a discount of $5 through the link in the description below. And the membership is $12 to start, so $5 off will make it $7, which is, I mean, it was already affordable. So if you do that, it becomes even more affordable, and that would be your subscription to TryHackMe. So if not, you can always just follow along and like, subscribe, share, comment, and of course turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time a video comes out from this pathway. And at the very least, you'll have that information and you'll be able to kind of get more of a comprehensive education for your security analyst, security operations center analyst positions and training, so on and so forth. So without further ado, we are going to jump into the room overview. Dude, that rhymed so well. I honestly, I'm so proud of that. And that was off the top of the dome and everything. Okay, whatever. All right, so here we go. What we're going to go through today is OpenCTI. No idea what the hell that is, so let's read about it. It's an open source intelligence platform. It helps you understand and answer the following questions, which is what is it and how is it used? How would I navigate through the platform? What functionalities will be important during a security threat analysis? And it's based on or some of the prerequisites, I guess, are the MITRE attack framework, the Hive, MISP, and threat intelligence tools. I feel like I've done most of these except these two. So let's see, have we done the Hive? We definitely have not done the Hive. And then we have MISP, which I have not done either. So prior to going to this room, we recommend checking out these rooms as prerequisites. So I wonder if it's not going to work if I don't check those out, and what will happen if we don't do those. So I'm going to do this room since I've already started the recording. I'm going to do this room, and then we're going to do all of the follow-up rooms in other videos because I know they're going to be required. So I'm literally going to end up doing these other 2 rooms probably today as well, just to kind of give myself a full education on these concepts. So we have the room overview taken care of, and now I'm going to jump into the introduction of OpenCTI. So it's an open source platform designed to provide organizations with the means to manage CTI through the storage, analysis, visualization, and presentation of threat campaigns, malware, and indications of compromise. It's developed by the collaboration of the French National Cybersecurity Agency. The platform's main objective is to create a comprehensive tool that allows users to capitalize on technical and non-technical information while developing relationships with each piece of information and its primary source. The platform can use the MITRE ATT&CK framework to structure data. Additionally, it can be integrated with other threat intel tools such as MISP and the Hive. And the rooms to these tools have been linked in the overview, which we already kind of saw. And so this is basically what it looks like. This is the dashboard of OpenCTI, and looks pretty cool so far. Malware, so on and so forth. And there's a lot of other things that I'm pretty sure we're going to get the overviews for right now. But this is basically the dashboard of OpenCTI. So we did read that section, and let's talk about the data model of OpenCTI. So it uses a variety of knowledge schemas in structuring data, the main one being structured threat information expression, which is STIX2. And STIX is a serialized and standardized language format used in threat intelligence. It allows for the data to be implemented as entities and relationships, effectively tracing the origin of the provided information. So this data model is supported by how the platform's architecture has been laid out, and the image below gives an architectural structure for your know-how. So you have the GraphQL, and let's see first and foremost where OpenCTI fits in. I can't even see it on here, so let's see, is it all the way down here? Yeah, so let's kind of read through this real quick. So you have GraphQL, the API, and that feeds into the database for, it says Elasticsearch on here, knowledge storage, and then of course the event streams for real-time event management through Redis. Then it feeds into Minio for storage, and then the call API goes into workers, which apparently works with Python. You have the background jobs such as importing and exporting, which goes into the messaging system that works with RabbitMQ, which feeds into the workers and also feeds back and forth into the connectors. And the API also feeds back and forth into the fronted. No, I don't really know what that means. And then connects between that, the connectors feed between the external services as well as the API. So it seems to be that the whole thing kind of just feeds back. So the external services go through the connectors and the messaging system and the workers, and they feed back into the API. That's what it seems like happens. Let's hopefully get a little bit more information about this. So the GraphQL API connects clients to the database and the messaging system. Write workers, Python processes utilized to write queries asynchronously from RabbitMQ messaging system, connectors, and other set of Python processes used to ingest, enrich, or export data on the platform. These connectors provide the application with a robust network of integrated systems and frameworks to create threat intelligence relations and allow users to improve their defense tactics. Okay, great stuff. According to OpenCTI, connectors fall under the following classes. So we have various levels of connectors. You have external input, stream connector, internal enrichment connector, internal import file connector, and the internal export file connector. And so the external input ingests information from external sources, and these are some of the sources. The stream connector consumes platform data stream from these sources. The internal enrichment takes in OpenCTI entities from user requests. Internal import file connector extracts information from uploaded reports, and internal export file connector, or I may have said export already, but whatever. Export connects to information from OpenCTI to different file formats. And these are some of the examples right here. And so I think the external input connector is what MISP and the Hive are for. And of course, the MITRE attack framework and common vulnerabilities and exposures. So all of those feed input into the system, into the API, and it gets processed accordingly. So yes, we have read about this. And it says refer to the connectors and data model documentation for more details on configuring connectors and data schema. So let's look at the dashboard. It seems that we have a start machine button, and it's going to start our machine. That will probably give us a, we also need to use the attack box as well. So it says follow along with the task. Let me minimize this for now. Follow along with the task by launching the attached machine and using the credentials provided. Log into the OpenCTI dashboard via the attack box on this situation. So once we get the IP address, that's going to show up, and then we'll be using the Firefox browser to do it. And then give it about 10 minutes to start up, and using the attack box on full screen is advisable. So we should probably go into the full screen after the whole thing's been done. And so now we have the dashboard. So let's look at a screenshot of the dashboard, which we already saw before. And let's see what it says over here. So there's activities and knowledge. Then there is analysis, and then events, observations, threats, arsenal, entities, and that's about it. So you have activities and knowledge, and within that is analysis, events, observations, threats, arsenal, and entities. So they fall into these two general categories. And as we look at it, the activities and knowledge, OpenCTI categorizes and presents entities under these things. On the left side panel, the activity section covers security incidents ingested onto the platform in the form of reports. It makes it easy for analysts to investigate these incidents. In contrast, the knowledge section provides linked data related to the tools adversaries use, targeted victims, and the type of threat actors that campaigns used. Okay. Then we have analysis. So this is the analysis page. Whoa. Okay. So I guess you just click on one, and this is what it kind of opens up for you, and that's it. That's basically what it looks like. And what does it say under analysis? The analysis tab contains the input entities in reports analyzed and associated external references. Reports are central to OpenCTI, as knowledge on threats and events are extracted and processed. They allow for easier identification of the source of information by analysts. Additionally, analysts can add their investigation notes and other external resources as displayed below. We can look at the Triton software report that's published by MITRE and observe or add to the details provided. Okay, great. So events, we hunt for events involving suspicious and malicious activities across organizational framework. Within the events tab, analysts can record their findings and enrich their threat intel by creating associations for their incidents. So from what I'm gathering, OpenCTI is an open source platform that can be used to expand on any malicious attacks or any kind of data that's necessary for security analysts all over the world to kind of just be better informed and have more access to things. And it's something that we as analysts could add to, which seems to be, I mean, it's kind of very important for us to just keep feeding into the community, right? Then you have observations, technical elements, detection, rules, and artifacts identified during a cyber attack are listed under this tab. One or several identifiable makeup indicators. These elements assist analysts in mapping out threat events during a hunt and perform correlations between what they observe in their environments against the intel feeds. So observations right here, you would click on one, it kind of opens it up, right? That's basically what it is. So you have, oh, I see. So there's these tabs. So you have the observables, the artifacts, and the indicators, and these are all under observations, and we're going to click around with those a little bit as well. Then you have threats. So you have threat actors, intrusion sets, and campaigns. So an individual group of attackers, an individual or group of attackers seeking to propagate malicious actions against the target would be the threat actors. Intrusion sets would be an array of TTPs, tools, malware, and infrastructure used by a threat actor against targets who share some attributes. APTs and threat groups are listed under this category on the platform due to their known pattern of actions. And you have campaigns, which is basically a series of attacks taking place within a given period and against a specified victim initiated by APTs who employ various TTPs. Campaigns usually have specified objectives and are orchestrated by threat actors from a nationwide crime syndicate or other disreputable organization. So under threats, we would see all of this information. Let's see what other clicks. So that's under intrusion sets right here. And is this gonna animate to anything else? Okay, it doesn't seem like it. So this is basically it. So under threats, we would see all of the information about a bunch of things. So APT C36, APT 1, 12, 19, 30, etc. So these are all different types of advanced persistent threats that have been documented that we can review and compare our notes to probably. Then you have Arsenal, which is the malware, attack patterns, courses of action, tools, and vulnerabilities. So known and active malware and Trojan are listed within this detail of identification and mapping based on knowledge ingested. So in our example, we analyzed the 4H rat malware, and we can extract information associations made about it. Then you have attack patterns, which is, I mean, the name kind of implies what it actually is. So it's just different TTPs to target, compromise, and achieve objectives. We can look at the details of the command line interface and make decisions based on the relationships established on the platform and navigate through an investigation associated with them. Courses of action. So MITRE maps out concepts and technologies that can be used to prevent a technique from being employed successfully. These are represented as courses of actions against the TTP. Tools are any legitimate tool and service developed for network maintenance, monitoring, and management. Adversaries may also use these tools to achieve their objectives. For example, command line interface attack pattern. It's possible to narrow down that CMD would be used as an execution tool, and it can be used as a defense tool, obviously. Vulnerabilities, known software bugs, system weaknesses, and exposures are listed to provide enrichment for what attackers may use to exploit and gain access to the systems. So this is it under Arsenal. This is the malware tab. This is if you click on malware, it would give you the overview. This is attack patterns and attack patterns overview, and courses of action and courses of action overview. And then you have the tools and the tools overview for CMD in this particular example. And so that's it. Like under malware, you can click on something, it'll give you the overview, and same thing with the rest of the tabs. So it's a pretty nice database. It's like a nice central location for finding threat indicators and vulnerabilities, all that stuff. So then we have entities. It categorizes all entities based on operational sectors, countries, organizations, and individuals. It allows for a knowledge enrichment on attacks, organizations, and intrusion sets. So if you click on it, it'll show you basically everything under the sectors, the countries, organizations, and a bunch of other tabs as well, right? So there's the cities, positions, systems, and individuals as well that are listed all under entities. And these are things that you can just study upon and find more information on. So there's a lot of stuff that's available in OpenCTI. What is the name of the group that uses the 4H rat malware? So I think for this, we need to kind of open up our machine now to be able to find this information. And I'm gonna close these for now so I can actually open up the split view and see if at least in split view maybe we can work with split view. If we can, that would be great. If not, we might need to open up just to make it work easier, I'm definitely gonna go into full screen, and from here we're going to go and log in with the credentials that they gave us, which is info@tryhack.io, and then that's the password. So info@tryhack.io. Open up this. Actually, first thing I need to do is copy this. So copy, go here, and go into Firefox. Paste. Go. While that loads, I'm going to get this password. Copy info@tryhack.io. Okay, so now what we need to go do is go and look at the specific threat. So they will be under threats, and it's 4H rat. So that would be listed under threats, right? 4H rat. It's actually under arsenal. So arsenal, and we're looking for 4H rat, which is right here. And the malware that's been used by Putter Panda since at least 2007. So that's the information right here. And let's go and enter that over here. So Putter Panda. What kill chain phase is linked with the command line interface attack pattern? Okay, so here's what I did not check. So I actually went under tools and clicked on CMD and tried to find the attack pattern that way. But there's actually a section under arsenal that's called attack patterns. And under that section, we have command line interface. So I was looking for CMD under tools, when in actuality it's supposed to be under the command line interface, under attack patterns. And then from here, we should be able to see the kill chain phases, which is right here. So execution ICS would be the response here. So we're going to copy that. And let's see if that is indeed our answer. Yes, it is. Okay, so within the activities category, which tab would house the indicators? So within the activities category, which tab would house indicators? So observations houses indicators at the top right here. So the tab would be observations that houses indicators. Very good. Okay, cool. So that was our introduction to the OpenCTI dashboard part 1. So now we're going to go to OpenCTI dashboard part 2. And so we have the general tabs navigation, which is the overview tab, provides the general information about an entity being analyzed and investigated. In our case, the dashboard will present you with the entity ID, confidence level, description, relations created based on the threats, intrusion sets, attack patterns, reports mentioning the entity, and any external references. So you have arsenal and overview under malware. So overview is available for everything, I think. So if we clicked on artifacts, there should be an overview, or excuse me, the individual artifact, right? There you go. There's an overview for that. If we do arsenal, and if we click on one of these things, there would be an overview for that. So there's an overview pretty much for everything. And so we can see that under malware for the arsenal. And then there's the knowledge tab, presents linked information associated with the entity selected. This tab will include the associated reports, indicators, relations, attack patterns, timeline of the entity. Additionally, an analyst can view the fine-tuned details from the tabs on the right-hand pane where information about the threats, attack vectors, events, and observables used within the entity are presented. So this is this tab right here, which is the knowledge tab. And I would assume that it also shows up with pretty much every section and every individual item that exists. And then you have the image here, which basically shows us this. And there's a bunch of things under the knowledge tab. So there's the right-hand menu that has the overview, instruction sets, or excuse me, intrusion sets, attack patterns, all of those things. They all fall under the knowledge tab for something. Then you have the analysis tab, which just is the next one over. There is no right-hand menu for this one, but it gives you a bunch of different types of analyses attached to whatever the malware or whatever item you're looking at. And that includes the MITRE attack Cobalt Strike that's distributed by MITRE, SecureWorks Iron Ritual profile by Dell, and CrowdStrike response. And so there's a lot of analyses that is available under the analysis tab. So if we go here and click on analysis for 3para-rat, we'll see there's two. One of them is from MITRE, the other one's from CrowdStrike. And then if we click on knowledge, we can see that there's the overview right here. There's the intrusion sets that is available for this particular thing, and there's just one intrusion set. And then there's the attack pattern that is included for this particular one. And we'll see what type of attack pattern shows up here real quick. And here we go. Here are the attack patterns. This looks like something that came from MITRE because this looks like an attack pattern that was distributed by MITRE. And so the highlighted items in the red right here are what actually was done and how the attack was carried out. Okay, moving on. And so you have the indicators tab, the data tab, and the history tab, and those are all at the top right here. And there's no images attached to it, but it just says provides information on the IOC indicator of compromise identified for all the threats and entities. Then data contains the files uploaded or generated for export that are related to the entity. These assist in communicating information about threats being investigated. And then you have the history tab, changes made to the element, attributes, and relations that are tracked by the platform worker, and this tab will outline those changes. So what intrusion sets are associated with the Cobalt Strike malware with a good confidence level? So intrusion 1 and intrusion 2. And so what we're looking for is it's under the knowledge base, and it's going to be intrusion sets. So what we're going to go to is we're going to go back to malware. We're going to see if we can find Cobalt Strike. I should have just searched for it. There we go. Okay, Cobalt Strike. There you go. And so we got this. And so we're going to go to the knowledge base, and we're going to go to intrusion sets. And we need 2 specific intrusion sets, which is a lot. Oh, no, but they're saying which ones were good confidence. So you have copy kittens, and then you have, what is this? FIN7. So FIN7. And everything else is confidence low. So you have copy kittens and FIN7. There you go. And so who's the author of the entity? I'm guessing for this thing, for Cobalt Strike, or the author of which entity? Okay, so under analysis, we have multiple authors: the MITRE Corporation, Dell Secure Works, ESET, CrowdStrike, Dell Secure, a few other ones here. Oh, and it keeps going too. So it could be several. So it could be Palo Alto. It could be the MITRE Corporation. Let's see if the MITRE Corporation works. Okay, it does. But there are a lot of different authors, so a lot of those different answers could actually work. All right, so investigative scenario. Now we have a situation where we got to kind of find the information ourselves, right? So as a SOC analyst, you've been tasked with the investigations on malware and APT groups rampaging throughout the world. Your assignment is to look into the Caddy Wiper malware and APT37 group. So there's 2 different things that we have to look into. Gather information from OpenCTI to answer the following questions. So what is the earliest date recorded related to Caddy Wiper? So we're going to copy this, and we're going to go here, and we're going to go to the malware tab, and we're going to search for Caddy Wiper. All right, so here we go. And it says, what is the earliest date recorded related to this thing? So earliest date recorded, we're going to probably find that under history. Okay, so it's actually under the overview section where we have the latest reports about this entity, and it shows the ESET Caddy Wiper March 2022, and I think it's March 15th, 2022. So let's just open this up real quick. It does say 2022 March 15, and that is earlier than May, so that might be it. March 15 creation date. There you go. So March 15, 2022. Let's try that. Okay, that's it. Which attack technique is used by the malware for execution? So that would be under knowledge. Oh, I am actually under reports when I'm supposed to be under the malware itself. So we're going to go back to the malware, click on knowledge, attack pattern, and we're looking for the attack techniques. And what was the question? Which attack technique is used by the malware for execution? So we're going to go under execution, and it says native API. Okay. How many malware relations are linked to this attack technique? So how many malware relations are linked to this attack technique? Okay, so we clicked on the actual attack technique, which is native API, and we came to the knowledge tab of that attack technique. And under distribution of relations, we have 113 malware relations for this particular attack technique. So that's our answer. Which 3 tools were used by the attack technique in 2016? Answer would be tool 1, tool 2, and tool 3. So which 3 tools were used? Okay, so in 2016, so we have this one, that's 2016, this one's 2016, and this one is 2016. And so, what do I have? Shimrat Reporter, Bloodhound, and Empire. Shimrat Reporter, Bloodhound, Empire. So I think the first one is Bloodhound, Empire, and Shimrat Reporter. There you go. What country is APT37 associated with? So now we're going to go back to the threats category. Okay, so under threats, we get to intrusion sets right here. And then here we can find APTs, and I think it's right up here, so I could scroll potentially. But I'm just going to do this actually. I'm just going to search to save us a little bit of time. And there you go. So we have APT37 and then Lazarus Group. Both of them showed up for this. And so what's the question here? It says, which country is APT37 associated with? So we have North Korean state-sponsored cyber espionage group that has been da-da-da-da. So North Korea would be the answer. Very good. And so which attack techniques are used by the group for initial access? So which attack techniques are used by the group for initial access? So we're going to go into this thing, going to go into knowledge, and we're going to go under attack patterns. And what we're looking for is initial access, and there should be 2 responses. Okay, so we have defense evasion, persistence, collection, yada, yada, yada. Let's see if we can find something for initial access. Initial access, there we go. So we have phishing and a drive-by compromise. So phishing and drive-by compromise. Okay, so although that was actually correct, I believe we need to find the code associated with the techniques. And based on the hint, the information is under knowledge, the overview, and under global kill chain. And then now we need to find initial access under global kill chain. There it is. Very good. So you have, we have same thing, so phishing as well as drive-by compromise, but now we actually have the codes right here. So T1566 and then T1189, okay, T1189, T1566, there you go, okay. And so there is that, and this kind of concludes our investigative scenario, and we're pretty much done with this room. So this was relatively quick, which I appreciated because I do want to record several other rooms today. But this, I mean, this is a very useful tool, the Open CTI portal and everything that happens here, because it brings a lot of things in one place. So instead of having to just go to MITRE or just go to any of the other hubs like the Hive or whatever they had, all of that stuff comes here, and all of that stuff is accessible here. And there's a lot of things that's available for review based on what you're looking for. So you could be looking for a organization, you could be looking for a specific malware, you could be looking for campaigns that are relevant, countries, so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things that you could be going through and trying to figure out, and it just happens to be that this is I mean, it's a very, very in-depth database from what I see. And then what's really nice about it is that we can also update this database and add notes to it and all that other good stuff. So I'm very, very excited that I was able to learn about this. I'm going to terminate this machine because I don't think it's relevant anymore. But what I will do is I'm going to go and try to find what the Hive and MISP are for and see if they show up in our current path. And if they do, then I'm just going to kind of go along the path and eventually join them later. But I am interested to learn about these other databases from what it seems like. So, or platforms, I guess we can call them. So, it's your boy Hank Hackerson at Hank Hacks Hackers. We just went through a subscriber-only room inside the SOC Level 1 pathway for TryHackMe. And if you want to get access to a subscription, just use the link in the description below and you'll get a $5 discount towards that. And you can begin your education and kind of go into more of the advanced stuff. And then, of course, if you want to just learn from these videos, which you're more than welcome to do, make sure to subscribe, like, share, and turn on the notification bell so that you get notified the next time a video comes out. And I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you learned a lot from it. I sure as hell did. And I will definitely see you in the next video. Talk to you soon. All right, hello and welcome back. It's your boy Hank Hackerson with another episode of Hank Hacks Hackers. And today we are going through the MISP room, which was one of the prerequisites of the last room that we did for Open CTI. So I'm glad that it was like literally the very next thing. So I did Open CTI in the last video, and then now we're gonna go through MISP. It's kind of weird because they had Open CTI first, and in the prerequisites for this, it said that you needed this room. So it's like if you're going kind of down the line, it feels like this should have been first before Open CTI, but whatever. So yeah, we're going through MISP. This is all part of the SOC Level 1 pathway for TryHackMe. If you don't have access to this service, I would highly recommend getting it. This is another one of their subscriber-only rooms, so you would need a paid membership to be able to go through this room. And it's cheap to get, $12 to start, but if you use the link in the description, you get an extra $5 off, so it makes it even more affordable. And yeah, go ahead and get yourself the subscription. Otherwise, you're more than welcome to follow along in these videos, and just make sure that you like, subscribe, and turn on that notification bell so that you get notified the next time a video comes out, and you kind of follow along with us as we go through our education here. So I am going to jump into this path and this particular module, and we're gonna learn some good stuff today, hopefully. So we got MISP, which is Malware Information Sharing Platform, and as the name implies, there's probably going to be a lot of information shared about malware inside this platform. So we're going to get an introduction to MISP, use cases, core features and terminologies, dashboard navigation, event creation and management, and feeds and taxonomies. So there is prerequisites for this, which is the pre-security path and the junior security analyst room. So let's see if I've gone through any of these things. It feels like I haven't. Okay, I've gone through that. I've gone through that. I've gone through that. I feel like I have gone through most of this, actually. Yeah, I have completed this pathway, which is great. And what about this one? Have I completed this one? I think I'm maybe in this one. Junior security analyst. I have done this one too. Nice. Okay, cool. So at least I have the prerequisites for this room. So this should be fairly, simple and easy to do. So there we go. We got our MISP introduction handled, and we are gonna move on to the introduction and features terminologies. I think we need to start a machine, so I'm gonna start this machine real quick. I don't know if I need to use the attack box, but I already have the attack box open, so that should just kind of be available to us. But if not, the link is gonna populate in a couple of minutes, and we can jump into it. So what is MISP? Malware Information Sharing Platform is an open source threat information platform for collection, storage, distribution of threat intelligence and IOCs related to malware, cyber attacks, financial fraud, or intelligence within the community. It is effectively used for the following cases, which is reverse engineering of malware, security investigations, intelligence analysis, law enforcement, risk analysis, and fraud analysis. So this seems to be a pretty big deal, and it's good that we're going through this. It supports the IOC database, automatic correlation, data sharing, import and export features, event graphs, and API support, which is always useful to be able to access the API of something like this. And I mean, these things are mostly self-explanatory just by the title, right? So automatic correlation is something that I would say identification of relationships between attributes and indicators from malware, attack campaigns, or analysis. Okay. And then you just have the rest of this stuff, which is pretty self-explanatory. And so this is kind of what it looks like over here, which is you have the MISP threat sharing database, and it goes to the UI users, so it's you and me. And then there's the database that's also attached to it, and API users kind of use the API to, I would say, interact with it even further. So you could connect your snort, for example, where it is, it's right here, snort export, right? You could export data from here into snort, or export from snort into MISP, right? Or suricata, or any of these things right here. So it's very useful as it seems. And so let's see what we can get here. So the following terms are commonly used within MISP and are related to the functionality. So you have events, which is the collection of contextually linked information, attributes, individual data points associated with an event such as network or system indicators, objects, custom attribute composition, object references, relationships between different objects, sightings, time-specific occurrences of a given data point or attribute detected to provide more credibility, tags, which is very simple to understand, taxonomy, classification libraries that are used to tag, classify, or organize information, galaxies, sounds cool, knowledge-based items used to label events and attributes, and you have indicators, which is pieces of info that can detect suspicious or malicious cyber activity. So these are our general terms and understanding, and now that we actually have the machine up, we should be able to jump into it real quick. So it says for you to understand this, launch the attached machine and use the credentials provided to log into the Analyst account. Wait 1 minute for the URL and lab to start up. Use this to log in. So I wonder if I could just do it without using the attack box. Let's see. We might need to go through it with the attack box, but nope, it seems like we'd actually do it without that. So the password is this, and analyst@thm.thm. So analyst@thm.thm, and then we have our password. Let's log in here. And so we got the dashboard, which is the home button, obviously event actions, all the malware data entered into MISP comprises an event object described by its connected attributes. Event action menu gives access to all the functionality related to the creation, modification, deletion, publishing, searching, and listing of events and attributes. Then you have the dashboard, you have galaxies, shortcut to the list of MISP galaxies for the instance that you're on. Input filters, so alter how users enter data into this instance. Apart from the basic validation of attributes, entry by type, the site administrators can define regular expression replacements, regex, block lists for specific values, and block certain values from being exportable. Users can view these replacements and block rules here, while an administrator can alter them. Global actions, access to information about MISP, and you can view and edit your profile, view the manual, read the news, so on and so forth. MISP, simple link to your base URL. The name, so auto-generated from the mail address and currently logged user. The envelope, link to user dashboard to consult some of your notifications and changes since the last visit, like some of the proposals received for your organization, and log out. So simple enough. And so this is the upper menu that they're talking about, I believe. Yeah, it's right there. MISP, Analyst, so on and so forth. So, okay, basic overview. And then you have event management, which seems to be under event actions probably. And there's also the left side menu. So you can create an event, populate events with attributes and attachments. You can publish things. And there's event creation, which we saw on the left side. Organizations only. So the members of your organization to see the event. This is community only, so users that are part of your MISP community could see the event. Connected communities and all communities. Basic to understand. It's basically like the public view, private view, things like that, that you can kind of modify within this situation as well. And obviously things that apply to your organization that require an NDA or are proprietary, you would do organization. And things that reply, if you're in multiple branches of a bank, you can do this community only, which would be everybody within that bank or within that branch, and then this connected communities, which is everybody with across all the branches of the bank, or maybe even across other banks that the mother company owns, so on and so forth. So it's kind of what that looks like over here. And then the event details can also be populated by filling out predefined fields on a defined template, including adding attributes to the event. We can use the ML details of Cobalt Strike investigation to populate details of our event. We will be using the phishing email category from the templates. So I think that's what we're going to be working on. Attributes and attachments. So for the intrusion detection system, and then there's batch import. So this allows the attribute to be used as an IDS signature when exporting the IDS data, unless it overrides the permitted list. Then if not, the attribute is considered contextual information and not used for automatic detection. Then you have import. There are several attributes of the same type to enter, such as a list of IP addresses. It's possible to join them onto the same value field separated by a line break between each line. This allows the system to create separate lines for each attribute. So you want to add an attribute, view the event, and that's what it kind of looks like here. So add attribute, network activity, IP, and then you put a bunch of stuff in there if you wanted to. Contextual comment for intrusion, add a date to it, and then submit, and then this is what it looks like. And then you can go here and turn it on and off. Okay. The analyst can also add file attachments. So you have an attachment, payload, inherit event, contextual comment, whatever, Cobalt Strike, and then add the binary that you want to attach. And then is it malware, and upload. Okay, simple enough. And now it shows up here. And so you have the full thing under the attachments, it seems. This is what it all shows, I guess. Once you attach it, it shows all these things. Okay. Then you can publish the event. So once you've created it, you get to publish it. How do you want to publish it? Published, yes, got it. You probably get to declare how you want it to be published. So it's not published, publish the event. Everyone should be performed, so on and so forth. Okay. How many distribution options does MISP provide to share threat information? Seems like there's 4, if that's what they're asking. It seems like the distribution under add event is 4. So let's see if 4 is the answer. That is the answer. Which user has the role to publish events? Okay, so I have been clicking around this website back and forth trying to find the specific answer to this, and it was actually in the course contents, which makes it super annoying and frustrating. And this is it. This is literally it. Organization admin is the answer for what they're asking for right here. So it's, and they misspelled organization. So that was showing an error message for me, which is annoying again. Okay. All right, moving on. Okay, so feeds and taxonomies. Let me look at, so I have read about, okay, fine. We don't need an answer for this, but let's read through it. So feeds, MISP feeds provide a way to exchange threat information, preview event logs and associated attributes and objects, select and import events for your instance, and correlate attributes identified between events. And so that can be found in the feeds section. So let's see, list feeds, and which tab is this under? So sync actions, and then under that you can see list feeds. and then you can enable those feeds, and then if you turn any of them on, you can probably go to those feeds and see what's going on. So you click the little magnifying glass and it opens up the feed for you. So it's under sync actions, and then you do list feeds, and then you add them to your feeds, you enable them, and then you can even go to the search button and then start looking at them. Taxonomies are expressed in machine tags which comprise three vital parts: the namespace, the predicate, and the value. And so in this situation, analysts can use taxonomies to set events for further processing by external tools such as VirusTotal, ensure that the events are classified appropriately before the organization admin publishes them, and enrich intrusion detection systems to export values with the tags that fit specific employments. And so this is a bit of a screenshot right here. So it says flexible classification for information sharing. It's a solution to existing taxonomy to create your own to classify your cybersecurity events, indicators, and threats. This technique is integrated as a default mechanism for tagging in MISP and to support a distributed classification where organizations can share common taxonomies. And so namespace, predicate, and the value, Admiralty scale, source reliability C, Admiralty scale information credibility 3, NATO classification, and U, TLMB, Amber. So these are examples of machine tags and human readable tags. So the namespace is in the blue, the predicate I'm guessing is the category, the property attached to the data maybe, and then the value is in green. Okay, so taxonomies are listed under the Events Actions tab, and the site admin can enable relevant taxonomies. So let's see. Event Actions, list taxonomies. These are all the different taxonomies that are available. If we click on Enable, these are all the enabled taxonomies that exist. And so if we click on this little eye at the corner, we should be able to see these different things. And so these are some examples of the namespace, the predicate, and the value, right? And these are the tags attached to them. So the expanded is the state. Complete means that the information tagged reach a state of completeness with the current capabilities of the analyst. And then so if we were to look at where was it? It was global actions, I think. No, it was sync filters. So if I go home, I don't have the feeds. So sync actions and then feeds. Feeds are enabled and managed by the site admin for the analyst to obtain information. So I guess the account that I'm on is not an admin account, therefore I don't see it. But I can go into the event actions and list taxonomies, and from there I could see what all the enabled taxonomies are for our particular organization or group, I guess, and then take it from there. Then you have tagging, information from feeds and taxonomies. Tags can be placed on events and attributes to identify them based on indicators or threat identified correctly. Tagging allows for effective sharing of threat information between users. In our Cobalt Strike event example, we can add tags by clicking on the buttons in the tag section and searching from the available options appropriate to the case. I guess I'm supposed to be creating a sample event, which I have not done. So now it's going to ask me to do it probably. Right here it says, so CIRCL, Consumer Incident Response Center, Luxembourg, published an event associated with puppy rat. And your organization is on alert for remote access, Trojans, and malware in the wild. And you have been tasked to investigate this event and correlate the details with your SIM. Use what you've learned from the room to identify the event and complete this task. What event ID has been assigned to the puppy rat event? So let's see. We're going to go to our list of events. We're going to search for puppy rat, and right here. So 1145 is the event ID that was that showed up when I searched for puppy rat. So let's see if that's actually the event ID. Okay, that's great. So the event is associated with the adversary gaining something into organizations. And what is the hint? It says, what does RAT stands for? It stands for remote access. So I don't think I even need to search that. Okay, there you go. What IP address has been mapped as the PuppyRat C2 server? So let's go here. Let's just click on it. And then let's see the IP address that is mapped as the C2 server. Okay, so when we scroll down a little bit and we get down to the timeline right here, there's in the notes right here, it says PuppyRat command and control server. And so this is the IP address that has been mapped to this. So if we just paste that, that should be our answer. Very good. From the intrusion set galaxy, what attack group is known to use this form of attack? So the intrusion set galaxy, what attack group is known to use this? And so it's at the very top, and we go where galaxies are, and it's right here. So intrusion set should be Magic Hound. So let's see if we can find that, or see if that's the right one. So Magic Hound, there you go. There is a taxonomy tag set with a certainty level of 50. Which one is it? So taxonomy tag with a certainty level of 50. Okay, so we're looking at our tags here. Let's see if we can find something that has a taxonomy tag with a certainty level of 50 right here. So it's OSINT, certainty is 50. So, whoops. So OSINT, so open source intelligence. Okay, there you go. And that is our scenario for MISP, threat sharing. This kind of, I mean, this is my least favorite portal so far. So I don't want to be too critical of it, but I feel like maybe it's because I got spoiled with the other stuff that we were using that I didn't like this one too much. So hopefully you learned a lot about MISP and its use sharing malware and threat information in this room. This tool is useful in the real world regarding incident reporting. You should be able to use knowledge gained to effectively document, report, and share incident information, I guess. I think I was supposed to be creating an event or something, but it seems like it already existed. I don't know. Right now, I feel like I did not do well in this video. So I apologize to you, the viewer, if you didn't learn much from this, because I literally was just reading through the information and yeah. Anyways, additional resources, yada, yada, yada. If you get access to this, you can click on all of these things and you can actually get access to this room. So that's something that you could definitely do. And this is subscriber only access for this particular room. And so, yeah, if you want, use the link in the description below and you'll get a discount towards this room. And if not, you can always just follow along in future videos so that you can at least get the information that way. Make sure to like, subscribe, share, comment, turn on the notification bell, all that good stuff, so that you get notified the next time that we drop a video on this channel. And it's your boy Hank Hackerson with Hank Hacks Hackers. And I learned in this room, but this is not my favorite platform. So I'm just going to be honest about this. Don't judge me, okay? That being said, I will see you in the next video.